So, Darius ban coming out for Team Q. They understand that Big Bird Club loves to run the Darius top. Pike ban coming out for Sox Clinton by the side of BBC. That's understandable. Sox Clinton, a great Pike player, also a great Bard player.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think, like, obviously the emphasis there from Big Bird Club is they want to eliminate anything that has a high amount of mobility. I think that's been the onus for a while, not only just in solo queue, but I think in other competitive leagues, is, that ability to move across the map and kind of exert your will on other players, and I think ultimately just make your presence known is a big deal, and, I think Big Bird Club probably trying to isolate that as much as possible. And, like, even Graves, another great example of that highly mobile jungler, great damage, great ganking capability. So interesting to see this ban. And then, like, on the opposite side, former Team Q, or just Team Q, Zaheen, Ambessa, Darius, they're getting rid of those team fight champions, those ones that seem to run away with a game whenever they get too far ahead.
Yeah, and they're taking away the Smolder on the side of BBC. They do not want to see Rote play this champion. They're taking it out of the game immediately so that it can't be replayed, considering this is Fearless. I think that's a great idea. However, it's extremely counterable in lane, and if you draft around it, it can have the absolute worst time, and we see immediately a Jarvan get picked, and that is just a really, really, really awful thing to see if you're playing Smolder.
Yeah, and I think, like, the Jarvan pickup is as you pointed out, like, it's a great pick into it just because you're able to limit the mobility, even though Smolder does have some movement to kind of get out of stuff like that. Once he's blown it, he's kind of left without any tools to escape. The other thing I think, too, is, like, for Big Bird Club, when you pick that Smolder, you're completely indexing into a different type of playstyle that requires a tremendous amount of discipline and coordination and patience, and you're understanding that at early game, you're not really going to be very strong as Smolder, and you have to wait till the late game where you can really pop off. And a lot of teams are not necessarily patient enough in those moments, and they get way too far ahead of themselves, and they get caught off by the early plays, and then they never recover when they get down.
100%. And to add on to that, BBC first picking the Syndra here. I'm wondering if Team Q is going to take advantage of that at all. Syndra, I actually mained this champion for quite a long time, and it's one of those champions where you can first pick it, but there's so many in-lane counters, there's so many mobility problems with this champion that if you pick anything that can actually hop on top of Syndra, dodge that stun, it's extremely hard to deal with. I wonder if Team Q plans on taking Sylas or Irelia here.
Well, I know a little bit about watching how an immobile Syndra can be abused. I think I saw that a little bit earlier today, and that wasn't so much fun for a certain team. But regardless, at least this time that Syndra won't have to worry about the Skarner. At least they'll be on the same side this time. But I think drafting some extra protection from the Syndra is going to be good. I do like the Acel pickup, a scaling answer to the Smolder. Dragon on Dragon combat. I do like the fact that the Aurelion Soul provides a tremendous amount of utility. Like, it's a lot of zone control. Is fairly mobile, so he has escape tools, and, like, I just like the way he plays, and so I love seeing it hit the Rift, and especially paired with Sivir too, like double scaling element. So we're starting to hit those bans. Mordekaiser and Janna taking off the board.
Yeah, double scaling element. You've got the Jarvan there to get you through the early and mid game when you need it. It's a great pick into both Syndra and Smolder. We're gonna have to see if Skarner does what we think he will do, which is basically just stick around and counter jungle or counter invade as soon as you can. I'm curious to see how these jungles butt heads together throughout the series.
Sure, and I think in the game, like, and when I was watching y'all's series, the one thing I noticed is the Skarner was never really fighting one-on-one of the jungle. It was just using that mobility to kind of turbo cycle through camps, farm up, and it was really effective at the ganks and off angles where people really weren't expecting it, because you don't see Skarner all that often, and if you're not prepared through how he can enter the lane or just interact with terrain, you can be caught off guard, and where you think you're normally safe to position, you're just not. So 100%. So interested to see how, like, Team Q will actually be able to kind of work around that. Renekton and Zilean taken off the board. Team Q, they will have the final say in the draft, but first they have to show something.
Yeah, they're really trying to take away any ability that Team Q has to disengage or to save members of their team from this Skarner Syndra engage. They take off the Zilean to prevent anyone from dying to the Syndra execute. That's huge. It really opens up Syndra's ability to pick on whoever she wants. Getting rid of the Janna is huge because now your Skarner has ample opportunities to just full-on dive onto that bot side or mid laner, and there's really nothing that there's not many supports remaining that can repel that. They're grabbing the Milio here, which not only is helping the Smolder, but that's another support pick you're taking away from the side of Team Q, so that's more disengaged that they don't have access to. I just wonder if the only thing they really have left for disengage to something to keep Silver and Aurelion Sol alive is possibly Lulu.
Yeah, there's a number of supports I think that you could put with that. I mean, the Karma would be something that could help a lot with that in terms of helping the Sivir, kind of double stacking those shields. I wouldn't expect to see something like Janna, but maybe you could stack something like a Seraphine or a Sona. You could also play it with something rather aggressive and maybe give it some more frontliners, so Nautilus, Braum, Leona, all great options that you could pair with that, and also it would kind of help mitigate some of that initial threat. I do like the Poppy pickup from the Big Bird Club if you're talking about anything that has a dash. The Yuumi, not something that I was expecting because this champion, it feels like it's been gutted for a long time. Would be very surprised to see that actually hit the board, but not the worst thing in the world, especially if we pair with the Sivir, has a lot of safety. But no, instead they are going to transfer over to the Senna to turbo index into the Peel. BBC won the coin toss, so they elected to go to the blue side. And the first time that obviously these teams have played it all against each other this tournament. I'm excited to see what both of them will bring. You know, the refreshing thing when you get to see a brand new matchup is you don't know how the two teams are going to play against each other, and there's a lot of equation solving live on the Rift and how the teams want to approach each other.
Yeah, it's a very awkward moment, you know, first few moments in when you play a new team for the first time. You know, the first minute to minute and a half, you're really just trying to feel each other out. Are they playing aggressive early? Are they trying to get that early vision? You know, and you kind of have to take mental note of that because it's not the only time you're going to have to encounter it.
No, it's not. And you're talking about taking mental note. Like, one of the things I've noticed that you can kind of see happen real time is, like, when players are kind of testing each other, they're seeing, like, how aggressively they're going to play, especially in those solo lanes, like in mid and top. It's like, okay, how well do you know your champion? How well can you apply pressure with your champion? Like, what can I get away with? How confident are you on this champion? Like, and sometimes you see, like, people test it a little too far. Like, oh, okay, actually, this person's a lot better than I am, so I'm going to have to kind of alter the way I play my champion. And sometimes, like, oh, I can get away with just about anything I want, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, that first thing you just said, that was basically just me every single game. But kind of back up to this top side, Ricky taking some early damage on for the Poppy. That's expected. Poppy, such a strong champion into level 3. I wonder if Ricky's ever going to be able to out-trade the Poppy in maybe in long extended fights, but definitely not in the short term.
No, well, he needs access to level 2. I mean, and being down early, like, Poppy's always going to have that extra push. Like, that shield throw is kind of nice to have. So it's something that Shen's really not that well equipped to deal with, I think, early on. It also doesn't help when you're missing CS, and so Poppy just constantly shoving that under tower is going to make it even more difficult for Shen to kind of mitigate that. I will say, though, like, and no disrespect to Shen players, but you don't really play Shen for, like, all the CSing he's going to do and all that kind of stuff. You're more playing for the utility that he's offering and the ability to kind of sway team fights and turn even fights into uneven fights with the Stand United. So
definitely.
Sunny Waffle already starting to get aggressive here. Sox Clinton getting below half. Has consumed all the pots, and so this is the potential for that Jarvan to come say hello.
It's the potential for the Jarvan to come say hello, but Sox Clinton dropping dangerously low that fight. Still has heal available, of course, and will start to passively heal with the use of the Q over time, but lots of damage coming out from Sunny Waffle, and that's just going to be stacking, you know, giving Smolder stacks the more that you just stand there and take it.
He has 17 stacks already. He is winning the stack war. He has more than the Aurelion Soul. Game over. No. But, I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, Smolder's going to enjoy a lane where he can kind of feel free to farm. He doesn't have to feel like he's under too much pressure. Kind of going against what I thought would happen, though, and this has happened to me a couple times today where, like, I've figured that, you know, certain lanes would have priority, but it doesn't necessarily happen the way I think it is. And, like, with the Sivir Senna, I would figure that lane would have, because it's essentially just 2 damage dealers to a certain degree, they would have a little bit more push. But Sunny Waffle and Chicken Thuggy, like, they're doing a really good job at applying pressure and making Sox Clinton and Route 16, like, feel uncomfortable in some of these trades. And, like, they're doing a good job at managing the mana as well. So, like, long term, they're going to be able to stay in this lane for a while.
Yeah, if you're on the side of TTQ, that bot lane matchup is pretty hard to do. You have to basically dodge every single one of Smolder's abilities in order to win trades, and as soon as you lose a trade, as you get hit by Smolder abilities, you feel so awful because you're giving her free stacks and you're losing the trade too. It's just a double whammy.
Yeah. Well, something I've noticed too, like, just as a small, like, minor interactions, I'm noticing how timid it's Ricky is up here and trying to get some of the CS, where some of these minions are just passively dying because he's worried about stepping up too far, because then British is just able to trade so aggressively. And, like, even right now, like, this health total, like, don't let it fool you. Like, Poppy is very, very dangerous here, and it's a really quick trade to just get bursted down. So
The problem is that he's got no mana, so I really don't think the trade potential is there until Poppy gets maybe an early tier. Then it starts to become a huge problem. Not to mention, getting an early tier on Poppy is really good. The getting Fimbulwinter is just such a strong item on her right now, but we've got double root on the side of TTQ.
Also, that root, I mean, it was effective in getting 2 of them, but like Chicken Thuggy doing a really good job healing up until this point, but now the extended trade starting to suck a little bit more. Sox Clinton is just able to passively deal that damage. It was a good root, good trade, and for a while it didn't look like that damage was going to matter, but then eventually the healing just wears off.
Yeah, Sox Clinton doing a great job of doing some excellent peel, following up in the double root. It's going to force Sunny to play a little bit more defensively until someone can come down, but we do see Skarner starting to path down, but Jarvan is just on the other side.
Yeah, he's going to go towards the cams. This isn't spotted on a ward. Sox is going to start to see it now as they completely fully wrap around.
Gank bottom.
But the health bars are low. They managed to walk away from that. Would just get hit by a rock, but ultimately don't have to burn any summoners. So the gank, it forces TTQ to kind of back off a little bit and release some of the pressure, but doesn't get much more than that done.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a bit of overzealousness on the side of BBC. They thought that they could just get an easy, quick gank, but Root and Sox able to disengage pretty quickly. Jarvan continues to farm, gets a nice little farm lead going for himself. He was actually falling behind before this point, so that's going to feel good. And plus, the longer that you're able to keep this lane alive on the side of Team Q, the easier it is to take this dragon, and we see them going immediately towards it.
This is a little ambitious, I think, though. This is not necessarily the easiest dragon to take. Save the Fishes is here. Bot lane, Digis back. That was a bad call from Sunny Waffle. They want to try to contest this dragon. You kind of want your ADC there to do it, as I'm about to sneeze into the Swifties. Trying to get away. Going to manage to dodge it for now, as I'm trying really hard not to sneeze, because Rich Ricky has just teleported on top of the Asol. Flash out. Trade of stuns, though. First blood goes over to the Syndra, as the Asol, as you called, is the first to die. We didn't know how it was going to happen, but the Hammer of Justice sends 2 flying away. Smite sent out to Root just to try and get him to slow down. How bad do they want to chase this? Not much farther. Ping's coming down on top of the dragon, so potentially TTQ want to make a play for this. But yeah, the Syndra walking away with first blood. You called it.
Yeah, Taylor Swifties was just playing a little bit too aggro there. Wasn't being patient enough and went ahead and flew over the rock face there. And once he used the fly, it's just so much harder to reposition once you're in a bad spot. And he just gets punished because of it.
No. Great heads-up play from Sifl, making sure that he had the coverage in order to land this guy at the weeks too, which is a devastating ability because it's so difficult to track. And in addition to all the other stuff that's on your screen, like trying to keep track of Syndra's orbs is one of the hardest things like in the game to do, like borderline impossible in the middle of a team fight. And so, good job by him to be proactive in getting that kill on top of the Asol, because that really is where a lot of their team fight is going to come from in terms of AoE, is that Asol, especially as he starts to get more stacks.
100%, and the skin that Syndra's using makes the orbs blue, and with how many blue orbs are just naturally in the game, I mean, look at Sox Clinton and Chicken Thuggy. The support item puts 3 little blue orbs around you. Mm-hmm. I know they look a lot different, but there's just so much blue going on in the game from various abilities that it is super hard to track. It's one of the reasons why Syndra players are able to take advantage of skins. It's one of the few champions in the game where you can actually do that, and you just get a lot of free stuns because of it.
Well, I can imagine, too, like, trying to fight that champion in the river with that skin, like, you're not really seeing that stuff, even as it gets tossed into that color of the river. The river water, I can imagine it'd be difficult to track. So, yeah, it's fun seeing little micro interactions like that, things you don't normally think about. It's like, oh, yeah, that does make sense why that would make that harder.
Yeah, and plus, yeah, like, with all the chaos going on, you just don't notice that one little orb sitting there, so the stun is just really easy to hit every single time. Meanwhile, Root trying to get Sunny Waffles back off this wave.
Interesting little heal interaction there, off of the Doran's blade. Just a little bit of path healing. I just thought was kind of interesting. But in the meantime, though, while bot side's being pushed in, BBC, they're going to be happy to pick up those grubs. I have to point it out. Sifl is like very aggressive into trading into Taylor Swiftie's gravity well. Like, most people kind of avoid that Asol gravity well. Like, I really don't want to get stuck in this for any amount of time. But he has been like, oh, I'll just walk in the middle of it just so I can damage you.
100%.
Oh, flag drag. Sifl forced to draft over the wall. No star call just yet. It's a 3-man ulti on top of that. I see the Fishes, though. Needs a little bit more help. Sunny Waffle is here. Jungler is the first to go down. Not a lot of help being called for here. Milio on the wrong side of this potential engagement here. Sonny wants to see what else he can get done. Scatter the weak onto one. Sox quitting the nurse to go down. Fully Anointed will soon be following. They want to try and get the Acel as well. Sonny Waffle would love to steal these stacks away. They have to be level 8, but unfortunately he wasn't. Double kill for the Smolder, but it's a wash in the end. The Dragon going the way of TTQ.
Yeah, TTQ probably getting the better of that entire engagement, and showing what their team comp can really do. The engage from Save the Fishes, while it was really impressive to see that 3-man ultimate, there was no follow-up right after. So yeah, Taylor Swifties hits an ultimate on top of his head and just melts him, and you just give this Aurelion Soul almost a way back in the game, lowers that gold lead by about 800, and at this point, the matchup is supposed to go this way, really, for mid Acel versus Syndra. Syndra usually will win this early setup and will trade aggressively. That's usually how you win this matchup. But Acel will collectively start to pull ahead the more stacks that he gets, and that just feels great as Taylor Swifties.
Well, and to a certain degree too, like you can't necessarily stop the Acel from farming. Like, even if you get into the late game situation where you've achieved a number of objectives, like you've knocked out a bunch of structures, the more CS that you send Acel's way, the worse it's going to get. Like the worst thing you can do is crack an early inhibitor and start feeding him super minions as those stacks start to get wildly out of hand. And so no matter what, like as long as the game goes on, Acel's going to be a win condition here for TTQ. But obviously, BBC, they're trying to do what they can to mitigate that. Mom called over. Shield mitigates most of the damage. Socksplit now wants to try to get involved. Those long-range Qs starting to put into the damage on the Sunday Waffle. Thuggy going to be momentarily CC'd. Fully Anointed is here. They maybe want to dive this. It would be a very, very aggressive play. Acel, he's going to land a Star Caller, trying to maintain the Q damage. Taylor Swift momentarily going to get stunned up, and he's going to die to the Skarner in the mid. Not respectful of the spacing. Fully Anointed, I think, trying to get a little bit aggressive here.
Syndra's getting a lot for this.
Yep. Syndra's going to get a lot of tap. Oh, no. Poppy's teleport was blocked. These teleports are really, really low. They need to kind of call this one down. Yeah, he's going to go into the catacombs underneath the turret. Will he be able to trade for it? No, it's a double kill. Does get one in the end. Slays Route 16, and it cost him a lot to dive that.
Cost him a lot to dive it, and Root dying there is just awful. But that being said, they did get the kills down onto the bot side. You're trying to get some advantages going for your bot lane, and it is worth it at the end of the day. I think it was the correct call. I wish that Fully Anointed would have stayed under tower just a little bit longer, blocked one more turret shot. Yeah. You might have been able to see Sox Clinton get out of there, but unfortunately he falls to the tower damage. Yeah. Or not Sox Clinton, Root. My mistake.
Yeah. Well, and also part of the problem was, too, is like the health bars were not great as they tried to complete that dive. I mean, you almost kind of want to call it off, but it's almost like that sunk cost fallacy where it's just like, well, we've already spent so much. We need to get something for this, even if it costs us, because we don't want to walk away with nothing in that situation. I think either call would have been equally distasteful, and so I think for TTQ, they were just trying to make the most of a bad situation. Health bars are low. You want to get the kill, and you want to try and get Sunny Waffle down, like, and stop the stacking wherever possible.
100%, yeah. I think that now, moving forward, what we're really going to want to pay attention to is the splinter stacks on this Syndra. As soon as she gets to 100, she will be able to execute with her ultimate. At 80, I believe, is when her W will actually start to do true damage. That's the throw ability. Both of those are huge damage onto tanks. And, of course, with the execute, you're going to be able to take out all the squishies as soon as you want. And that's just a nightmare scenario for Taylor Swifties. That being said, Taylor Swifties going to finish up an item here soon, and we'll get a little bit more health, which is going to help with some of that burst.
And speaking of squishies, Route 16 and Sox Clinton, they're looking pretty squishy, and it would be devastating for them if a Syndra roamed down bot lane at 100 stacks and just executed both of them. But yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's those little micro-interaction things that you have to kind of keep track of, because you don't, like, I think some people don't even realize how some of the champions work in that way. Like, I wonder how many people actually remember, like, the whole Syndra stacks thing. Like, I forget that half the time, even when I play mid lane. They're like, oh yeah, like, Syndra actually does have some sort of scaling element. Like, she has a break point where that matters. Because it's, like, at first, like, you don't feel the damage from Syndra is all that bad. Like, oh, this is fine. But then, like, 5 minutes later, you're like, she does the same thing, but then you die. And like, well, wait a minute. Oh, nice flash. Throws them into the wall. That. Taylor Swiftie talking about being squishy. Sunny Waffle, though, wants to try and get out of here. Flash forward. Ultimate from Chicken Thuggies is going to give Sunny Waffle a little bit of a lease on life. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Syndra grabs the tower. Jarvan, do they want to re-gank this? Sunny Waffle and Chicken Thuggies, you need to either stay directly underneath the turret or back all the way off, and they have made the decision to back all the way off. Syndra coming with company, though.
This is when Syndra is so damn dangerous, especially when she gets too... Yep.
Oh, immediately tried to go into the
damage.
flag and drag, was immediately pulling the ultimate. The Syndra going to
Take
go
it down. They got her.
But Save the Fishes is going to land the Impale, his suppressor right now. But again, no follow-up, exactly like it was the last time near that dragon fight. He's going to die underneath the tower. Fully anointed Route 16 and Sox Clinton. They're feeling pretty good about that when that Syndra deleted as soon as she tried to come in.
Exactly, a little bit of a mispositioning mistake by the side of Seafill. He walked up a little bit too far, standing next to Save the Fishes, and it just allowed the Jarvan to ult onto both of them, knock her up, and as soon as she was knocked up and CC'd, she immediately died right after. I think that was a great call by TQ to switch Root and Sox Clinton over, and they just did so much damage that Seafill died before she could even cast anything.
Well, and even looking at it too, like the immediate cancel for the flag and drag by Save the Fishes, it looked like, oh yeah, they're going to be able to turn this fairly easy on this Jarvan. He's been stunned, he caught out trying to flag and drag, they'll be able to kill him, but then just immediately ults on top of the Syndra, who, like you pointed out, was standing too close, and they're able to burst him out, and then that's half of your damage gone in that fight, because Smolder's not really at a point yet where he could win that fight, especially with the health bar being low. And Seafill, though, right back to it, not afraid at all. Starfall.
He should be.
Yeah, this is going to be a problem. Seafill is just deleting this ASOL on site.
I'm not really sure what Taylor Swifties was thinking there. Syndra 1000% will destroy you in this matchup when she's this far ahead.
Yep.
She's got the items necessary to essentially, execute you, even though she doesn't have 100 shards. Maybe Taylor thought that the damage just wasn't there. I just think that was such a misplay that it might result in this Herald take.
I bet he was thinking that the damage wasn't going to be as bad as it was because she had just lost the fight. But even talking about losing in a fight, though, someone tried to lose this one. Save the Fish is just trying to survive on his backside, but he is down automatically at the end of this fight. It's Ricky, though, and fully anointed. They're on the other side of this trade.
Seafill's going to die.
Though, he's going to get traded back. Taylor Swifty says, I'm going to get my revenge. And it's Inbred Loser just wants to find a way out of this one. He's not going to get out either. Route 16 slays him where he stands. It's Ricky stunning up multiple members. It's fully anointed. Gets the flag, the drag, the stun on a Chicken Thuggy who's passing. Flash forward. It's the ace for Taylor Swifties. He's getting vindicated. They're going for the Herald. TTQ, they're absolutely on top of this match.
What is happening? TTQ is playing out of their minds. If we look back at this team just last month, everyone, and I mean everyone, discounted this team. We all thought they would come into this tournament and immediately lose to whatever team went down into the lower bracket. Not to, to shit on them too hard, but it's just incredible. They're playing out of their minds. They're playing exactly how they need to play for this team comp to win, and they're taking advantage of every little mistake that that BBC does.
That was an incredible timing for Root to time that spell shield where the Impale couldn't actually go off at the end of the animation. That's requires a level of understanding of exactly how long that ability takes to wind up. Even with the visual aid, it can be hard to guess. So massive
100%.
respect to that. But I mean, yeah, exactly what you pointed out. Like TTQ was not the team that you would have picked, even at any point of this tournament to be the one to win, especially with how the information of the scrims were going and how people were practicing. But I think maybe there's something to be said where, they lost that game early and they had plenty of time to be rested. They were able to watch some of the games, see how some of the other teams played. I mean, and they've shown that they're very well prepared and that they're able to execute on their game plan. And that's what we're seeing right now. And I'm very impressed with how this is going to go. Now, that said, one win does not a series make. Obviously, if they, assuming they win this first game, which I think right now it feels like they will, you still have to play another one. And there's a possibility that BBC, could come back and win this. They're a very, very scrappy team, very difficult to beat. And, they're in this position for a reason.
They're in this position for a reason. Whoa, lots of damage coming out from Seafill. Yeah, but they've got this team that's scaling. I think you're feeling pretty good if you're on the side of Team Q. If you just play your game, let the game continue. Taylor Swifties is going to be scaling infinitely into oblivion. The same thing with Root. Siver's a great champion towards the late game, and in my opinion, the longer this game goes, the harder time Save the Fishes is going to have trying to get some ganks together and kills for Seafill. Syndra is obviously powerful at all stages of the game, assuming you get ahead in the early game, but it doesn't really matter if you don't have really strong engage tools.
No, absolutely not. And I mean, and this is something that BBC is going to have to be very, very careful about as this continues to go on. Sunny Waffle obviously trying to get to the point where he can stack. His stack. I was trying to find a different word, but stack his stacks.
We're tired.
Yeah,
we're tired.
Yeah, 225 stacks is kind of that breaking point for him, where his damage starts to become lethal, and you get the execute similar to the Syndra. So both of them trying to work towards it, but TTQ I think doing a very, very good job of staying active, and making sure that they're being proactive on plays. around the map, trying to get something, making sure they're trading constantly. That said, BBC is going to respond with something of their own. They're going to get that top lane turret. Mid lane turret's already down. Syndra is just going to continue to get these stacks at 90, 10 more, and she reaches the execution threshold. And so right now, for me, it's about BBC. It's about them making sure they can start to win some of these team fights, because so far they've been outclassed there.
100%. They've been outclassed, and now we're watching Team Q really take advantage of what they've done and how hard they've worked to set up this mid game. We're seeing them already push over towards the dragon. Oh, they might have already caught out inbred loser.
Manages to get the hammer. Is not going to be able to trade for Fully Anointed, though. Was just caught out in the wrong spot, and especially at low health. Fully Anointed is fairly low. Save the Fishes could potentially make something out of this. It's a 4v5. Aesol on the way. Save the Fishes wants to find the Jarvan if he can, though. That basically gives them free access to the dragon if they can get the damage on top of it. Let's see, Phil and Save the Fishes. They could also try and make a play towards the Aesol. They're just not sure where they want to go. The pings back and forth. They want to try and start the objective. Fully Anointed is really, really low. One simple CC combination on him could make this a 4v4 easy drag take. Oh, Save the Fishes just managed to miss Taylor Swifties there. Now the Shin has joined the fight. Inbred loser up at 5. He doesn't have teleport. And yeah, BBC, they're going to have to walk away from this one. TTQ, they've got their third dragon of the game, and they're working towards that Cloud Soul. And this is really not where you want to be if you're BBC.
It's really not where you want to be. It's a tough ask if you're on the side of Team Q. You're not really, on the side of BBC. You don't really have the greatest game plan moving forward other than using Save the Fishes and C-Phil's combos to try and take out a member of TTQ before any objective starts. But if you don't do that, it just seems like the 5v5 is insurmountable with the amount of power that they've built up.
Yeah. And one of the side effects of the Poppy going down super early in that fight is the fact that you don't have the ability to deny any of the dashes that TTQ are putting out between the Shin and the Jarvan, so you're not able to deny that engage. And I think that's highlighting exactly how important a Poppy can be in a composition like this, where she is a major engage and disengage tool. She provides a lot of protection. If she's not up, that makes the team fight so much harder. And TTQ, I think, either consciously or subconsciously, recognizing that if they can keep the Poppy out of these fights, their job gets a lot easier.
100%, the job gets a lot easier. And something that I don't know if we were tracking specifically well before now, are we sure who's won the Dragon Wars?
Well, so here's the thing. For Taylor Swift, there's no quote-unquote winning, because the winning is just kind of constant. The winning is every certain breaking point, like my abilities get bigger. Winning for Sunny Waffle is...
I'm saying a kill to take the stats.
Oh, well... I don't think it's happened. They haven't killed each other since that level 1 fight. But speaking of killing, ooh, a nice hammer to eject everybody out of that fight. Oh, also interesting over the wall interaction. They haven't killed each other since then. I can't remember who killed Sunny Waffle in that fight towards the top side earlier, but I know that the only time that I know for sure they've killed each other was in that fight towards the river.
Okay, interesting. Something that is important to note. Now that Taylor Swifties has enough stacks, the Gravity Well will prevent Syndra from being able to walk forward and actually get her normal Q-stun combo off. So I think in the side lanes, Aurelion Sol is really going to have a good time moving forward.
Well, and also he's going to be much more difficult to lock down because, he can just kind of nope out. He can just leave. Like, I'm not enjoying whatever this is about to be. I'm just going to press W and walk away. And short of someone actually being able to get in front of him and, silencing that ability or pinning him against the wall, something like that, it's going to be relatively free. And, to your highlight, though, exactly what you just said, Aesol's going to be this annoying side laner for a while because the mobility around the map, there's really not anybody that can get to him quickly other than maybe the Skarner, but he has to kind of do it in a roundabout way. And it's difficult to lock down an Aesol that can just leave.
Interesting, okay. I think I found a way to know who won the Dragon game.
Oh. Are you just going to rewind the stream?
No. If you click on the champions in-game, you actually can see the reward.
Oh, interesting.
Up.
Who got it? Because I don't want to mess with the stream overlay.
It looks like Sunny Waffle got it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I guess at some point he killed Aesol. And then well, there you go. The little moral victories. Sonny will feel good about that.
Yeah, so if I'm reading this correctly, it looks like he got 60 stacks off of it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that would explain why he's stacked up pretty well. And speaking of stacks, 225.
He's almost already at 225.
Yeah, he's almost at 225, so he's going to reach that breaking point. I wonder if he knows. Yeah, it's one of those things probably the players don't even know. Sunny Waffles and Taylor Swifties, they probably don't even know about that interaction.
I wonder if Sunny just looked up and he's like, holy shit, I got a lot of stacks.
Yeah, I was just like, oh man, I have been doing a great job farming. I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, 220 stacks at 24 is sick. I think you're more than happy with that.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That's
220.
insane.
5 more stacks, just a little bit of CS. It had plenty of time for him to get that, then back and get ready for this dragon fight, which is the next big objective. TTQ, they really want to secure this one. That would give them a huge bonus to be able to just have that Cloud Soul in their back pocket, be able to kind of run around the rift with it and know that it's something that BBC can't take away from them. BBC, obviously, they would like to put an end to this dragon stacking and perhaps secure a measly dragon of their own. This ping's coming down. They want to try and position aggressively for this, does TTQ. It's Ricky on the top side. They can teleport anytime they want to this, just who's going to make the first move.
Rightfully so. Yeah, you leave It's Ricky up there as long as possible, and you just bait BBC into trying to fight you with this dragon. I think if Ricky pulls off, which we're seeing him doing, he's looking to ult right now.
Here we go. Save the fishes. Woman manages to get one. They get it on top of the support, and that's not what they want. Starfall did quite a bit of damage. Aurelian Soul doing what he needs to do, but Sunny Waffles. Oh, these helpers are starting to get low. The Execute starting to stack. It only takes a little bit. Shut down over to the Syndra. Meanwhile, Asol was seeing what he can get done. Sunny Waffles left on his lonesome. Sox Quentin trying to get anything done. Manages to silence the dragon. It's an absolute team fight. Win for TTQ. 5 dead on the side of BBC. And this soul is going to TTQ.
Incredible. Team Q getting ahead of that team fight, doing some massive damage, and I wonder if we can watch that back in a short moment here, because at one point, I think that the re-engage from BBC was extremely well played, but you watch Team TTQ, their entire backline backsteps at a perfect interval, dodges a lot of incoming damage, and then walks forward perfectly and just steals tons of damage, and you watched as Taylor Swifties ran over the wall and just started to light everyone on fire, including Seafell.
Well, and important to point out too is, unfortunately, I did not press the button to capture that, and I keep forgetting that I have this thing that I built functionality for.
Fine.
But the one thing to point out too is, like, now we're talking about the backstep, the only person that he even managed to get with that impale was the support that he wasn't even able to kill. That wasn't the one that they wanted to focus. And once Sox Quentin managed to get over to the brush, that Skarner was massively over-indexed into the jungle, and it was an easy punish at that point. And even then, when you're looking at the fight, like, you're starting to see that threshold of the Execute starting to stack on multiple champions. Like, oh, really Smolder can start to walk away with this. He runs with a couple kills, but then ends up not getting anything else. And Inbred, he's just going to be the next sacrifice here. Couple ultis on top of him. It's going to be the Cataclysm and lock him down. And yeah, this should just be the Baron play. Oh, can't even do anything about this.
100% should be the Baron play, unless they stack into this Baron pit awkwardly, and maybe you get a multi-stun.
Starfall gonna land on top of that one. Save the Fishes, managed to get 2. Dodges the Senna ulti. What else can they get done? Sunny Waffle, he needs time to fire, but he's getting chased out by the Shen. Fully anointed, ready to back him up, but the health bars are low. They want to be careful. They don't want to get caught doing this again. The respawn timers are starting to get low. Inbred loser, he'll be down for 13. But BBC, they don't want to let this go. It's only 9k health. It's not going down fast. Poppy may be able to get here. Won't have the teleport. Won't have the teleport to get here. Sox Quentin starting to get low. Taylor Swifty starting to get low. This is not where you want to be. The health bar's low. The Smolder is up. The Execute thresholds are there. He's going to start to do it. It's stolen! BBC! A miracle's what they needed, and they get it. Smolder gets 2 kills. They walk away with the Baron, and BBC says, not so fast. We're here for a reason.
Definitely 1000% a miracle play by the side of BBC. TTQ played their hand way too hard. I said it right before the fight started. If they just sit in that Baron pit for too long, they're going to take way too much damage. People are going to be able to respawn and come back into that fight, and you're going to have Sunny Waffles hitting you over the top with a nice ultimate that just does so much damage, and they take him out mid.
He's dead. Yeah, this is the turn that BBC needed, and now they're going to start to really cram this advantage down the throats of TTQ. They got exactly what they wanted, and they can start to be aggressive with it. Soul be damned. They're going to start to crack the base. Sunny Waffles got so much done in there, but massive shout out to Save the Fishes. Timed it perfectly. Got in, got out, got the impale, was putting in so much damage, and you're right. BBC was patient. They knew. They are greedy. TTQ wants to get the Baron. They want to have their cake and eat it too, and all they had to do was wait, and they were massively rewarded for that patience.
Yeah, I feel like it was such a mistake to roll the game on a Baron flip like that. You had the game, TTQ. You could have just backed off, reset, and moved back in. But I guess they might have been too scared that BBC would have immediately taken the Baron if they were to back and reset. And while that is a valid, reason to stay around, it's definitely not a valid reason to sit in the pit and take so much damage that you're at half health.
Well, I think initially when they had kind of won that initial skirmish, they got rid of the Poppy and they managed to kind of damage BBC a little bit. I think with the amount of time that Poppy had up because she couldn't teleport, I think they reasonably could have backed and reset. Ooh, Ziffel manages to land the full stun combo on the Sox Clinton and deletes almost half the health. But I think that they have plenty of time to reset. I don't think it would have been a big deal at all. They could have, regen their health, just buy a little time, push out the lanes again, and then particularly look for another fight. The only way, as you highlighted, for you to lose the game is to throw in that Baron pit, and now they've got to dig themselves out of a little bit of a hole. It's not a lot of gold. It's not a huge advantage, but it is something. And the worst part is you're giving BBC the feeling that they could get back in this game.
100%. I mean, at the end of the day, Team Q has soul. That's huge. Okay, they've got tools in their tool shed to be able to beat BBC in a straight up 5v5 fight, but BBC has shown that they understand what their comp's strengths are, and if they can pull off another good play just like that one where you've got Save the Fishes going in and grabbing multi-members into C-Fill stun, you've got Sunny Waffles popping over the top. If they play like that again, if they do that exact same play one more time, this will be the end of the game. You will see BBC walking away with the win. Likewise, TTQ, your game plan is easy. Play around fully Noided and Swifties doing so much damage off of the rip. You've got Root coming over the top. It should be an easy game plan in both directions.
Yeah, absolutely. And that starts with trying to get some of these pits. It's Ricky. Going to be caught out here. There's 3 people here.
So
He's trying to do a little bit of damage. Where's going to be the Impale? Not yet, but he is going to be forced out of this lane. Can't stay. As BBC, they're 4 strong here on this bot side. He's trying to keep tabs what's going on. They're going to slowly start to siege. Again, no more Baron buff, but they don't necessarily need it right now. They're going to knock down this structure. Yeah, and TTQ, they're going to have to walk back. They're going to have to respond to this.
TTQ's going to have to respond to it, but I think BBC will pull off. They don't want Aurelion Sol to get another tower, and so you'll probably see them go back here. Elder up in a minute 40. I think that is going to be an awesome fight to watch and see who's going to actually take control of this region.
I think the Elder fight is what decides this game. I think with the way that both teams are situated right now, because they're relatively as strong as they're going to be unless the game just goes super, super long, how decisively they play this fight will determine whether or not they win. I think for TTQ, you've got to be very conscious of where you're positioning and understanding that Sifil on that Syndra really wants to blow up your squishies and that it only takes one button to do so. And there's really not a lot of damage mitigation there. There's really no magic resist anywhere on the side of TTQ. And so that Syndra's going to be very, very deadly. But for the side of BBC, you have to watch Taylor Swifties. You do not want to get 5-man Star Call. You do not want to have that Aurelion Sol ultimate landing on multiple members. And this may be a little bit more than they wanted. Taylor Swifties going to have to beat a hasty retreat. BBC, they're getting control over this river.
They're getting control of the river. One thing I do want to point out on the side of Team Q, you said that they didn't have any MR. The jungler, the top laner, and the mid laner, all correctively so electing to take the Mert Treads. Mert Treads does wonders against this BBC team.
That's fair.
It's very strong against Poppy, very strong against every single member of on the side of BBC. So, very good choice. Picking that item, but yeah, oh my gosh.
Flash for flash. Save the Fishes managed to get on top of the Aurelion Sol, but there's no follow-up. Sifil goes into the Golden Stasis. They didn't get the center, but they're going to focus her now. That was a team fight. They win it. Sunny Waffle, a little late to this party. Impred is the next to fall. TTQ, they may have got what they needed. Sunny Waffle's going to be the next to fall, surely. It's a trade in the end, though. Chicken Thucky.
They end the game. I think if you run down mid, you could end the game. But I think they're going to elect to take the Elder Dragon.
Absolutely. I think that the respawn timers are still a little too long because they'd have to run through 2 turrets, and I think that enough alone with the minion wave positions not enough to do it. But that Elder Dragon, especially with the buff, is going to give them a huge advantage now. And again, talking about like something like a pendulum swinging, now TTQ, they're back in the driver's seat.
Definitely, yeah. I thought the death timers were 50 seconds instead of 40, so definitely not able to take the game there. But taking that Elder is just such a good feeling on the side of Team Q. I guarantee you, after that Baron flip, you probably have some bad mental going into this next fight. So to win that immediately after, take that Elder is going to feel great.
Well, and let's expand on that even for a second now too, because with the Elder, with as long as that buff is going to last for the next 2 minutes, guess what's coming up? Baron, which makes that fight so much easier for them, knowing that they could just walk into there and they're not going to be at the mercy of what happened the last time, where they can really turn and make that damage stick. So BBC, they're going to figure out, do we even want to fight for this Baron? Do we want to try and wait both of these buffs out? We haven't really lost all that much yet. We have towers we can retreat to, but if they choose to fight, they're going to have to pick their targets very, very carefully.
100%. They're going to have to play this so carefully. Save the Fishes is probably going to have to communicate with his team and actually have them follow up on these awesome picks he's getting. You know, we saw... Yeah, it's going to be theirs. There's nothing that BBC is going to do. They're going to just give it here.
Yeah, there's really nothing else I think they can do. It's just too risky to walk in that Baron pit. You don't have control. You don't have vision. You're fighting an Elder-empowered team. Your best bet is just to try and wait. This is where I call you got to make the grocery list of things that you can live without. So start sacrificing out of turrets. Just try and huddle up underneath your turret. Sifl does quite a bit of damage to Sox Clinton. Would have liked to have gotten more, but it's not enough to dissuade them yet. Still running towards this mid lane. This is what I don't like when teams do, though. You have Baron buff, try and spread it around, but they're not going to do it. They want to huddle towards this mid lane. They want to force this mid tower down, but it's very difficult to do with the amount of wave clear that BBC has. So TTQ, I think they need to try and make an adjustment and spread this Baron around.
100% they need to adjust it around because Sifl and Sunny Waffle and these two champions are so hard to siege against. Sunny Waffle's throwing out a W that can last, you know, it goes nearly across the entire screen, and if you're just mispositioned once, Sifl's going to stun you and you're going to die. So yeah. I'm glad to see them pull off. I don't think the play should be to go 5-man mid. You got to at least put Ricky or Taylor Swifties on the side lane and have them come over and help if needed.
Well, and I think the other thing is, too, I think if you're able to kind of spread the Baron around, you force BBC to sort of dissipate this ability to huddle in the mid lane. You're going to force... oh, Taylor Swifties, that was not where you wanted to TP. He may be punished for that one, but a massive star call on top of multiple members of BBC. What else can they do? Again, the mid turret is still strong. Health bar is relatively healthy for BBC, and despite how flashy that looked, Taylor Swifties almost lost his life, and now they may have to be making the peace of the fact that they're not going to get any more with this Baron, as it's about to fall off here in the next minute and 25 seconds, and they're just going to go ahead and take some of these jungle camps and get out and not try and push their luck any further, because Taylor, he almost died for that teleport.
Yeah, I wonder if there was any miscommunication. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall there. I wonder if maybe they made a call that Fully Noited was about to dive onto the tower, and Taylor Swifties immediately went ahead and teleported over to assist with that. And once they realized that the dive was not going to work, you know, Taylor Swifties is now in this awkward position. Either that or he fat fingered teleport. We'll really never know.
It's possible. In the realm of possibility, anything could have happened there. He might have just, you know, thinking that they were going to be a little bit more aggressive as soon as he came in. Because, I mean, the first thing he did, and it may have just been like panic, oh, I need to buy myself some space, was he ulted. But to me, that almost seems like, hey, the play was, I'm going to come in, I'm going to throw this ultimate down, and we're going to be able to wombo combo these guys. But really didn't end up hitting that many people with, or really anybody at all. And so now they're going to have to just kind of regroup and rethink their next strategy, because the base is still very healthy for the side BBC. That dragon stacking, though, for Taylor Swifties, he has so many stacks, 483 stacks.
Yeah, the longer this game goes, the better you're feeling on TTQ. Smolder's already maxed out. You know, his damage is pretty much going to be where it's going to be for the rest of the game. It is what it is, but you've got this infinitely stacking dragon and that's being piloted by Taylor Swifties. It feels great. We've got Elder coming up in 5 seconds. Let's see how these teams play around it.
I mean, we're reaching the point now where most of the champions of the game are starting to get full build. So really, at this point, it comes down to execution. It comes down to individual moments. And honestly, it comes down to how long the respawn timers are going to be. Right now, starting to see them aggressive, position fairly aggressively, BBC. They want to see if they can make any kind of play here. They're just trying to get control of their own side of the jungle. TTQ, I think, also similarly looking for angles. They want to try and find this opportunity to land wombo combo onto BBC and get multiple members. Really specifically, they want to try and get Sifl and Sunny Waffle, because if you knock those two down, you really have nothing to be afraid of from the remaining members of BBC. And on the flip side of that, BBC, they want to try and get Taylor Swifties. They want to get Root. They want to be able to knock down that damage. There's no one else that matters. So it's kind of just to protect the damage carry part of the game. Sivir has 317 CS. One of the things that we haven't talked about all today is the 500 CS Sivir win condition that used to be such a popular thing in League of Legends.
Definitely. I think this item that she's going for, or this is going to be Guardian Angel, it's going to make it a lot harder for Sifl and Save the Fishes to actually execute her with. It's a great item to pick up. Yeah, we should be talking about the Sivir more. It is also excellent into the late game. I think piloting this A-Soul alongside Sivir is just going to be so awful to deal with. And something else we haven't talked about is the infinite scaling of
Senna. Yeah,
Senna.
172 stacks there. More attack speed and more attack range the longer that goes on. So it's like a lot of infinite scaling, but I think like definitely TTQ, they have more infinite scaling than anybody else in the game. So the longer this game goes for them, it's fine.
It's definitely fine. I think as Save the Fishes, you were just looking to get a miracle pick onto Taylor Swifties or Root. Once that happens, you can just end the game. The death timers will be too long. Taylor Swifties got to get out of there.
Yep. Going to be able to make his egress away from there as the Skarner just trying to buy a little bit of space here. They really want to get this Elder because that gives them the capability to kind of mitigate some of the extra damage that TTQ is just passively getting. Sivo! Ooh, lands on top of Sox Quentin. That is going to be the support down immediately. Using the ultimate to get it there. Starfall onto one. Multiple Root. And Bread Loser is hero. It's Ricky on the back line. They're just trying to buy space there. Aurelion Sol starting to get low. This is where the Smolder starts to excel. This is where you want to get away from him. Fully Noided. It does have the Guardian Agent available.
They have to give it.
But they're going to have to give this one away. A-Soul, is he going to try and run immediately back onto the map? They're not doing this particularly quickly. 10,000, 11. No, they're just going to give this Elder. That was the play that BBC needed. It's one Deb, but it's enough.
Yeah, we're seeing a dual Elder game. How many games can you say you've watched where one Elder went to one team, the second Elder went to the other? That is incredible. We're seeing such a good play out from both of these teams, and it's just very, very inspiring to see the comeback. I know we've said it before that TTQ has made. That being said, you hate to see BBC taking that Elder. It puts a little bit of a damper in your spirits. They're going to have to show how defensive they can play as opposed to how aggressive they were playing earlier.
Well, and now we're in the opposite. We flipped the script now where earlier it was TTQ that had the Elder to take the Baron, and now it's BBC that has the Elder to take the Baron. The only difference is obviously some of these Guardian Angels on the side of TTQ, so they kind of get out of jail free card one time, but you got to figure out how you want to spend it. This is all about landing the damage. This is all about finding the squishies. TTQ, are they just going to watch this go down? Yeah, they are recognizing that there's absolutely nothing they can do about it. They're just going to try and trade somewhere across the map, send the Shin to start picking up towers, send the Asol to help. The backs are going to come out from BBC, but right now, that's about all that they can do.
100%. Yeah, you don't want to fight them while they have that Elder. Now that they have Baron, it is a bit of a problem. If they decide to actually just 1-3-1 and split into your base, I think that really pulls apart the strength of TTQ. We're going to have to wait and see if BBC actually does this. They look like they're trying to push out this mid wave. Poppy's on the bot side, but it looks like she's trying to make her way towards mid to back them up.
Now, it's going to be a little delayed on this play. It's 5 strong in the mid lane for TTQ. BBC, they're just going to slowly start to siege us down. Save the Fishes wants to kind of get out of the gravity well, but he's being slowly damaged down by the Senna and the Asol, and going to be a little bit worse for wear. But again, both teams not prepping the waves. This is something I think is very important to call out that I've seen teams doing all day today, where it's this onus of, like, we just want to force through the mid lane. It's a very solo queue-esque play, and they are better served by trying to even up the waves on the top of the bot side and spread the Baron out where it's much, much harder. Oh, Siffle, though.
There is so much damage that just came out.
Senna ult over the top, but no follow-up on the top of Save the Fishes. Oh, Taylor Swifties wants to get out. He's going to be the first to fall in this long extended fight. Fully noted, Sox Clean, it's Ricky. All very, very low. Have to run away. Sox was taking, gets lasered by the Elder. This is the end of the game for this first match. For the
we're probably going to see BBC win here unless they can get a miracle play on the side of Team Q. They've got to get some kind of crazy engage here.
Chicken Thuggies is low, so is Save the Fishes, but Sunny Waffle and Siffle, they've got a lot of damage to put out. The respawn timers are very, very long for Taylor Swifties and Sox Clinton. They could slowly start to end this game. Siffle is going to back and then teleport back into this base. What else can they get? Emilio's down, but that doesn't help you right now if the Syndra comes back in. Super strong. Wants to land those Scout of the Weeks. Route 16 just has to watch as the base is slowly ending up its channels. He's Resurrection coming out for the side of the Jarvan. That GA popped. He's going to be the next to fall. Stand United not going to get anything else done. It's still 4 strong, but surely the respawn timers will start to come out. It's Ricky just trying to buy a little bit of time for Root to start to clear the waves. Swifties. Low health bars. Taylor Swifties, what can he get done as he slowly comes away? The base starting to end up in shambles. Emperor Loser going to fall. They're not going to end it just yes. They won't be able to do it. There's not enough time for them to go run down. They're just going to have to hold on to what's left of their base. They're trying desperately to clear away those minion waves. The BBC, they've almost got it done. It was a close thing, but TTQ, they managed to hold on to their base.
Yeah, just by the hair of their chins there, I think TTQ did not expect them to immediately push in and take advantage of them as soon as that awesome ultimate came out from Taylor Swifties. Taylor Swifties got a little bit too overzealous there, got caught out on the top jungle by Seafill's stun and immediately died coming out of the stasis. And, because of that, we saw them almost completely lose the game. I wonder if they're going to miss or reposition and hopefully take advantage of the fact that there's no longer an Elder on the side of BBC.
Yeah. I think right now, though, even though the lack of Elder, I think for TTQ, I mean, you're in really dire straits. Your base is absolutely open. If you go and miss even one person running into your base, there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. You have a long time until these inhibitors are going to spawn back in. So you're basically having to huddle to your base until you can maybe potentially find a pick, because you have no inhibitors, no towers. It's going to be a long time before the Nexus towers respawn. And BBC, they've got everything they need to do. One more big push by shoving all these super minion waves in, and they can just end the game.
100%. They could end the game if they position these waves correctly. In fact, and to be honest, I think if either of these teams know just how close this game is, I predict that the next team fight will result in the end of the game, whether that's in BBC's favor or TTQ's. I think the respawn timers will be so long that they'll be able to walk a wave straight over to the base, considering that the only towers left are those tier 1s.
No, absolutely. BBC, they've got control over every part of this map right now. They're absolutely choking the vision out of TTQ. They're not really able to see anything. The jungle is not dark and full of terrors. Double super minion wave starting to push into the base. And this is where your metal is tested. This is where your ability to hold on, to play creatively and disciplined is really tested. BBC, they want to try and make their way into the space. They really want to end this game, but they want to do it the right way. They don't want to get caught off by Taylor Swifties. S16, they still have a lot of damage, even though they're in dire straits. They have the ability to win these fights if BBC get a little goofy with it, but they're starting to crash these waves. The waves are starting to slowly sync up, and now the members of TTQ are going to slowly have to spread apart. They're going to have to start answering these waves, and this is the invitation that BBC is waiting for. And the longer they wait, the better it gets for them. They can just kind of sit here for the next minute and wait for Baron to spawn, and then empower those super minions. It's going to be a couple more minutes before the inhibitors respawn. And TTQ, they're just trying to clear the waves. Let's see if they're going to land damage over the wall. He's trying to.
They're looking for something.
They're going to retreat towards this Elder. Shen still towards that bot side. TTQ, what have you got? Can you do anything to get yourself back into this one? The Elder's going to get spawned in.
That's not too bad.
It's not the worst damage in the world.
Blocked a lot of the damage.
Question is, where does the teleport come in? Because remember, someone could just teleport towards that top side. This is the fight.
Ace does so much damage
wants to get something done, but Sifl has already slayed one. What else can he get? Syndra on the backside, fully anointed, possibly the next to fall. The TTQ, they're doing it. They're trying to get more out of it. And Red Loser not be able to buy more space, but Save the Fishes, though, still up. It's a double kill for the Silver. What else can they do? As the ping's going down, even if they just kind of stop the backstart here, if they're just passively able to do damage, they might be able to get more out of this. Oh, Sifl, he's still waiting. He's still fairly healthy. He can go in there and kill a bunch of people. The super minions, they're starting to pour in. Sifl, he wants to land a 6 scout of the week. He just wants to kill a couple of people if he can. It's worth it for him to sacrifice himself. But no, the Elder's going to go that way. TTQ, somehow, they managed to find a way to hold on. As Aurelian's Soul doing everything he can to save the base that's on a knife edge, but BBC somehow still can't end the game.
Oh, no. Okay, good. You got out. You love to see it. It's these back and forth absolute bangers of series that just make you love the game of League of Legends. I'm surprised that Team Q was able to hold on there. The amount of damage that came out from Taylor Swifty's ultimate alone was absolutely asinine. And because of that damage and because of the follow-up from the side of TTQ, specifically Fully Anointed and Ricky doing their job, they were able to immediately get on to Sunny Waffles and take him out. And that allowed them to take that Elder, rather.
Absolutely. And if you notice, that big old fat number of 680 stacks outside of Taylor Swifty's, his abilities are massive. They do so much damage. His gravity well slows everyone in a 12-mile radius of him. TTQ, they want to try and transform this. They want to transition this over to a potential Baron. But BBC, they want to hold on to this. They don't want to let this go. Again, the bases is still in shambles. The inhibitors are about to respawn both on the top side and the bot side. And even I say that it comes
both teams have to be so careful.
BBC, you got to play this super precise. You don't want to give anything away because one misstep gives TTQ the win. They're pinging onto that Baron. They're going to start trying to do it now. They're going to absolutely burst this thing down. It's already down to 12,000, 11, 10. It's ticking. BBC, even if they know this is happening, there's nothing they can do about it. They're just going to have to passively wait. This is turning into a very long game, a 48-minute game. Neither of these teams want to give an inch.
and they don't have the ability to backdoor. Check the wards in the top jungle. There are no BBC wards, so you do not have to worry about the backdoor. That being said, I'm sure that it is on Team Q's mind.
Oh.
That's a double stun.
Massive scatter of the week, but this is the moment for TTQ to put the signal on it. Oh, they're starting to put in the damage. It's an ejection, but it's not enough. A double kill for the S16. Just trying to buy space, trying to buy a little bit of life, but TTQ, they said it's our turn with the double stacks. It's our turn with the double buffs, and even though you tried to enter our base, we have flipped it on top of you, and we will be taking the first game of this series. TTQ defying the odds.
And I just think that, you know, it's been a pleasure watching these teams so far, and we're gonna have to wait and see how the series progresses. Excited to see what picks are grabbed now that all of these champions are off the table. No more stacking.
Yep. Some of the same bans being kept across the board, though. Darius is still hitting the ban board. Ambessa, Bard, and the Graves joining that list. Let me see what else will hit the ban board. If any adaptations that these guys want to make, if they're going to keep those bans relatively the same. Big Bird Club, I think, got a composition that they liked, but ultimately weren't able to close it out. I think just kind of ended up getting outscaled. The damage just wasn't what they needed. And TTQ, they, you know, used a little bit of their luck to continue this run and managed to put the final touches on that fight with the Asol and the Sivir doing a tremendous amount. And I mean, massive respect to them to be able to turn that game around, because it looked definitely like it was over. The Big Bird Club, they're going to start their draft off with Anami that we have seen so much of in this tournament.
100%. I don't think you change, at least on the side of Team Q, you do not change the bans here. They work for you the first game, they'll work for you the second game. I think Zahin, Ambessa, and Darius are all smart bans against Big Bird Club. I know this because this is the exact same bans we used against them in all three games. And it seemed to work out pretty well, but oh man, the Sejuani Victor automatically taken off the board.
I already like where TTQ is going with this one. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what feels great? Scaling in CC. Interesting to see what they want to pair with that Sejuani, though, from a melee perspective, because you do want to pair at least one or two other champions with melee. A lot of options for that in the top side. I mean, already still on the board. Sion is available. Renekton also available. You can go something like Camille, Gwen. I mean, there's a ton of options that work really, really well with that Sejuani. And then, like, even from a support standpoint, something like Nautilus, Leona, I mean, the options are endless. And a lot of those would work with the way that TTQ clearly want to play the game. So the question is, what can Big Bird Club do to mitigate that? They've got the Nami, they've got the Corki, but they need to draft some safety.
They need to drop some safety. I'm curious to see if they're going to end up pulling out something safe like a Jhin possibly in the bot side. That's entirely possible on the side of Team Q. I think with the Victor taken, it's really hard to know what they're going to be picking top side. You've already got some tanky control elements. I wonder if Team Q with some, you know, off the back of that win, you know, you're feeling a little bit better about yourselves. They do have the Cho'Gath available.
Yp. I was also highlighting
is an option.
Yeah, I would also highlight things like the Sion, which would be a great pick with that Sejuani. Gives you even more scaling, tankiness. But then things like the Gwen, if you wanted to get a little bit more damage heavy, Camille. But interesting to see what they'll pick. And they don't even have to pick here. They could just wait to leave that top to counter pick. And even more scaling and even more mobility. Kai'Sa, love that pickup. And again, a ton of great supports that they can pair with it. Kind of gives you great mana, AP scaling. And just an overall great ADC. So I like seeing her in some drafts like this.
Yeah, but they are pretty magic heavy. I wonder if we're going to see anything coming out for the side of Big Bird Club that's going to answer this. Maybe possibly get maybe a Galio fitting somewhere in there. I don't necessarily think Galio is a smart pick into the Victor, but just something to think about. They might possibly go for a second tank.
Absolutely. Sion taken off the board for TTQ, so they clearly don't want to play against it. Nautilus going to be hitting the ban board. Bird Club, they don't want to have to play against that. Also a great counter dish, Nami and Corki in general. It's very easy to lock those champions down with point-and-click CC. TTQ, what do they want to remove on the top side? They're trying to protect that top side pick as much as possible, which seems to me that they have some intention for it, and they want Big Bird Club to show them everything that they're going to have before they commit to anything. There's Rakan, also another great pairing with the Kai'Sa that they're going to take off the board.
Yeah, taking off a lot of those big heavy hitter engagers. Kai'Sa Nautilus, obviously one of the most common combinations to use in that bot side, but the Shaco is coming out!
Oh no. Oh no, please don't tell me it's Shaco top again. Surely they're just hovering this as a meme. Yeah, I think so. I think they were paying homage to the fact that they maybe messed up in that first game that they played with that Shaco. Malphite going to be the pickup there for the top side. Or potentially the jungle, sorry. Or potentially the jungle, because they could flex it. They could wait if they see a more favorable matchup there. Mundo, obviously, going to go to the jungle for the Big Bird Club.
most likely goes either mid or top here, or sorry, most likely will go top here, considering that the Sejuani's already shown.
Yeah.
But Malphite into Mordekaiser is just one of those weird matchups. It's like Mordekaiser should win, but how do you even touch Malphite? He Qs you and runs away. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
The farming is pretty simple though. If you play correctly in Mordekaiser, you should always beat Malphite. You just keep him off the wave, almost perma. It is a hard matchup, but
ooh, they are very magic heavy on the side of Big Bird Club other than the Corki, but I do like a Kassadin, especially into a Victor. I've seen this matchup a couple times, especially during this tournament, and even when casting for the LBLCS, and it is 50-50 who wins that fight. Like a lot of times it's the Kassadin if he can get onto those squishies, but sometimes Victor just straight up wins that poke fight. What will the final selection be here for TTQ?
Yeah, you're hoping as a Kassadin to play, so aggressive that you're actually able to Q and mitigate some of that poke damage from the laser. They left it open. They left the pike open.
Yep. So BBC, they have drafted one hell of a composition that will make that difficult. So as with anything, I've been saying it all day. I will continue to say it until I'm blue in the face. It comes down to execution. You can have all the best intentions, all the best draft ideas, but if you don't execute on it and you make mistakes, then the enemy team will absolutely capitalize on that. And BBC, they are one of those teams. I do like what TTQ is doing, though. They're getting very aggressive into that lane. Hiding out on that brush. They would like to find some sushi.
Yeah, Sox Clinton's got the Hail of Blades, so the damage is there, especially with the Ignite. But I think they sniff them.
I don't know. I don't know if they've done this before. I don't know how aggressive it's been. Oh, they're going to exit the lane. They could have potentially waited, but they decided they were going to be a little bit more disciplined. I think I'm fully expecting TTQ to kind of have the push in this lane. It's Pike. It's Kai'Sa. Like, it's, oh, here we go. Oh, forcing out the flash already. Yep.
You're going to win that trade now, and they force out the barrier en route.
Yep, and the barrier for Sunny Waffle, though. So that Sunny Waffle, a minute and 21 seconds into this game, has no summoners, and is now essentially just free for anybody to come kill. And Sox Clinton, that damage is not even going to matter. He's just going to passively heal that back.
Yeah, he's going to passively heal it back. It's going to feel great if you're on the side of Team Q. I think that they're playing this matchup correctly. And as long as they apply pressure to Sunny Waffle and Chicken Thuggy, it's going to be very easy for Sox Clinton to roam when that mid game comes around.
Yeah, absolutely. This topside matchup you talked about, the Mordekaiser playing it correctly. It seems like that is going well so far. Minor CS lead, it's not going to matter. The wave will bounce out. But it's the beginnings. It's a humble beginning to bigger things. And BBC, they're all about kind of starting with a little bit of humble beginnings in some of these games. They've had some rough starts, but they've shown that they have the ability to stay tough. With TTQ, they would like to break them of that habit and instead just give them a nice and simple 2-0.
Yeah, and it's something that, this is just coming from the team that they're going to be playing against. I feel like I'm almost more scared for TTQ to 2-0 right now because they're going to come into the finals with such a high that they might even play better because of it, and it's a little frightening, especially because we've never even played against this team. And mind you, we've never even scrimmed against TTQ, so it's really a mystery. We're going to have to do some of our homework. I know some of my teammates are doing that right now to figure out what we might end up playing against them because, to be honest, we didn't expect that we would be playing against them in this series should they 2-0 them.
Root already dropping down to about 10% HP, so not looking good for him. As somehow Sunny Waffle managed to get the better of that trade for a little while, but should start to equalize this edge. Wani is here. Remember, Sunny does not have a flash or a barrier, so he is absolutely just going to die here. And yeah, they're going to stack this up, and Chicken Thuggy kind of needs to be careful with sticking around too long. The Corki's always going to die there, so you just need to kind of conservatively figure out how close you want to be to him because death is contagious.
100%. And you know what? TTQ is executing this comp perfectly, or at least this bot side lane, rather. They're playing around the jungle timing and getting an easy pick there because of Sox Clinton Q. And Knock goes down. That's an easy kill for the side of TTQ, and they are going to get a nice little advantage going into the first dragon spawn here in a minute.
Yeah, and they'll feel nice to go ahead and grab that early objective, kind of like they were able to last time. They were able to get those early dragons stacking, and that mattered a lot once they got to the end game, especially after they were finishing, kind of getting into the point scaling. I mean, it's just one of those things, like, if you can get that going early and have this as an additional threat to kind of level at your opponents, then it's always nice where you don't have to be so worried about, like, if you get two and then you have to give a couple up, like, you don't feel like you're hard done by. You feel like it's just, oh, they're just not equalizing. And so TTQ, like, from what I've seen from them, like, they are fairly proactive in trying to make plays for those dragons, and so fully expect them to do that in just a minute whenever whenever Fully Anointed makes his way back down there.
Yeah, I really want to watch if Sox Clinton starts to roam, and more so than he already is. But I really want to see if he starts even impacting topside to get Ricky into a nice little position here. We do see that Inbred Loser took Ignite, so that lane will go. Oh, the nice little flash.
Forced to flash out. There's the roam we're talking about.
Yeah, the roam comes out and it forces out a flash. That's a huge summoner down for the side of BBC on this Cassidon here. Makes it a lot easier to gank him in the future. Fully Anointed, taking notes surely there so he can come back and make Taylor Swifties just have an awesome time in this lane.
Sox Clinton is here again, going to land the hook, throws him back. Sunny able to Valkyrie out of the way though. That's kind of nice for Sunny, knowing that as a Corki, you can kind of have a movement ability to get out of that potential stun. But Sox is getting very, very active very, very early in this game, already making roams towards mid lane, being aggressive on the bot side in terms of trying to land it. Sejuani is here. Now, Sunny Waffles does have the flash hit again, but he's just going to go down here. One more E will land it, auto, flash forward. Not sure that the flash was needed, but Fully Anointed wants to make sure that he doesn't possibly get away as barrier was used. Sunny will have his flash here in just a minute. A bit committed to put him down, but, I mean, TTQ, they're fine making that investment. That's 2 kills early on.
Yeah, something that I think Team TTQ has really done an awesome job on is really... Oh.
Naylor forced to flash out. That's the passive activated for Save the Fishers. Taylor Swift needs to get off the line of sight so that he doesn't get hit by another ukulele. Forced to flash, but he does get to live.
What I was going to say there is I feel like TTQ has just done an excellent job identifying from the last series we saw them play in exactly what their team and what their players are good at. They have fundamentally identified, hey, look, Sox, Clinton, and Root are our pivotal strong points on this team. We need to be playing around them at all times. You saw it last game with the Sivir, and this game now with the Kaisa, Fully Anointed, playing excellently around this bot side, getting advantage after advantage. And now that Sox Clinton's got this roaming support playstyle, I mean, it's just, the piece of resistance. He's going to have whatever he wants and eat the cake too when it comes time for him to start roaming even harder. I promise you, we're going to see this guy mid lane a lot more.
Yeah. Well, I think the only other sacrifice, I think the thing that you're finding with BBC is knowing that, and this isn't like a great point, but I think it's just something to consider, that with the amount of roaming that he's going to do, he's going to be a little bit late on his delayed on his support quest. But, like, to be honest with you, as Pyac, like, you're not even really worried about that because the utility that you're getting and just being a nuisance in the lanes and ganking is worth way more than any potential, like, support quest. Like, yeah, you want to get that done. You want to, to be able to move through that and not be super behind your lane opponent. But also, if you can set up kills, like, isn't that just worth?
It's very worth, but, to be honest, we might actually see him sit in the bot lane because the longer that he sits there, most likely the more kills that he's going to grab this Kaisa from Sunny Waffles and Chicken Thuggy. The question becomes, do you want your other laners to get ahead as well? And so... that really is going to be... We're going to have to wait and see there.
Oh, the flash forward underneath the turret. Oh, I didn't think that was going to be enough damage to kill when he ulted him, but apparently I was wrong.
Yeah, that's something to always understand as a top laner against Mordekaiser. The Mace Head does more damage, and it actually crits. As opposed to the staff of that mace, or the handle rather. The handle only does, I think, like 80% of the damage. So yeah, just flash Qs onto It's Ricky. It looked like he just wasn't ready for the damage output.
Yeah. I don't think anybody would have. I would have thought that I was safe underneath the turret too, and I didn't know that the mace actually did more damage. So that's actually news to me. It's good to know that. So I'll remember that next time I happen to be playing top and against the Mordekaisers. Don't get hit with the head of the mace because that would suck. But I think even It's Ricky just wasn't expecting that. I think he's like, oh, surely I'm safe underneath this turret, and turns out it was not.
Yeah, he's not. The good thing is that he does have teleport. He doesn't even use it to come back in the lane because I think the wave was collapsing when he died. So. It feels bad because you're losing out on that wave, but having TP still available feels a little bit nicer. You know that the jungler's not going to be able to just kill you once over again and really put you into a rough position. Yep. Both of them level 8 here, so It's Ricky, not the worst thing in the world, the fact that he died.
No, he's down some significant CS, but as Malphite, you're kind of playing for more of the utility stuff. Anyways, you're not going to be a super big damage dealer. Even as I say that,
it's risky.
Wasn't even able to get it. So, TTQ, they're going to be able to get all those grubs. And It's Fishy, he's going to go down for that. Tried to get aggressive to steal away some of those grubs, but wasn't able to do it. Oh, no, he did manage to get one. But it just showed that that Fully Anointed got him. So, manages to get one, but that's a pretty crappy consolation prize.
Yeah, 100%. If this is a solo queue game, I am all chatting support differential in the chat room. 100%. Sox Clinton, able to rotate up to that objective very early. Chicken Thuggy still in the bot lane, not understanding that the timing was there. And Save the Fishes, I'm not really sure if there was just a lack of communication from the bot side to Save the Fishes, but he should not have been trying to take that objective with 4 members on their way topside.
No, when I think too, I think even even further to your point, if Chicken Thuggies is going to stay down there, even though as I say that, we got to fight. Chicken Thuggies forced to get out. Oh, nice wave to stop it a little bit. The frozen chains managed to get a little bit done there. It's Save the Fishes, though. He's going to have to be careful. He can...
Fully Anointed should die here.
Over here, fully. Yeah, is just going to drop. Manages to get the E, but it's really not going to do anything more than that. But the point that I was going to make was if, I think, if Chicken Thuggies was always going to stay down there in order to put pressure on top of Root, just to make sure that they could get extra damage onto the turret and kind of force him out, then they should be communicating that, hey, don't go up there and trying to contest for the grubs because there's really no chance that we're going to have any success. It's not worth it for you to try and go in there and even get one. We can get something else across the map. And so I think either just a miscommunication or a misplay there for one or multiple members.
100%. Yeah, I think it might have just been a miscommunication. We'll never know unless we actually have some comm recordings later on. But it's okay. As BBC, just shake that off. Play towards your strengths. You still got a nice little gold lead here, especially from your top side, doing really well into the Malphite. And if I'm on the side of BBC, and if I'm Save the Fishes, I'm saying, hey, you know what? Let's look a little bit more towards this top or mid.
Yeah. Well, and the timing is really good for TTQ right now. In addition to that, like if you're looking for like an area to make a play, Sejuani's here, ready to take the dragon. They know that the Mundo's not going to be in the area, especially now that this is spotted out by the Malphite. He needs to walk his way on out of there. The Q gives him the empowered movement speed, is going to dodge the cleaver. And so, yeah, this will just be the next objective going the way of TTQ.
Yeah, Ricky's in a little bit of an awkward position here. If he takes a little bit too much damage, he might fall, but no, he's just gonna Q and run away.
Oh, Moore's gonna cut him off. Ow, that hurt. That was rude. That was rude. That was a little parting gift. Like,
if you're Mundo, you can come up top and prevent Ricky from getting back to lane, but I think they're a little bit too slow here to try to do that.
Well, and also he has flash and his ult to get out of any really particular danger. So that's the one part about trying to lock down the freaking Malphite. It's like okay, like if I'm really gonna go after him, like if he uses his ult to get away, like at what point do I call a chase quits? So Sox Clinton. Sonny thought he was alone on this one, but he's gonna get stunned. Wave over the top. Sonny manages to trade it though. Root is on his alone. Oh no. Root wants to see what else he can get. Manages 4. This might be a double kill because the Sejuani ACL Chicken Thuggy all on his lonesome. The next to fall, the bubble goes off, but it doesn't. Oh, Ziffle just wants to buy time. Just fully anointed. Yeah, gets the stun over the wall. Meanwhile, on the top side, there's so much action. It's Ricky potentially going to be left on an island here, but Pike, where's he doing? Running straight towards top side.
Right towards topside. I think we should highlight here, Chicken Thuggy had a great bubble there where it actually stopped the engage from Sox Clinton, allowed them to pick him up as a kill, and that was the first kill for Sunny Waffles this whole game. You're going to feel good, but dying there in the double kill to the Brute is just going to feel awful. So it's this elation and deflation.
Yeah, Kaisa sitting at 2-0 and 2 at 12 minutes in the game, has the completed Kraken Slayer plus the crit boots. Gonna be feeling very happy with the state of the game. As we like to say to Kaisa players, we do be winning.
We do be winning, and honestly, I think that's a great spot to be in, especially if you're on TTQ. You know that you have an easier game plan to execute. BBC really not going to come online with any of their characters until level 16, so you just play this early and mid-game out, get your dragon stacking, and you've got
here's the teleport. Fully, they want to try and knock down Sunny Waffle. Chains are going to miss. Root might be falling here. Sunny's going to be the next to fall. It's Ricky. Wants to try and get this damage on top of Chicken Thuggy. He has the ultimate knock-up. He's eating a lot of turret shots, though. Potato Swifties. Oh, manages to trade at least a little bit. Meanwhile, though, on the top side, Mordekaiser will have plenty of time with the turret, but they can look to dive this Nami. You need to leave. This is not worth it to stay. Oh, but Fully Anointed, though, might be dying underneath the turret.
Call an ambulance, but not for me.
Call an ambulance, but not for me, indeed. So yeah, surely we'll be able to just finish off Fully Anointed here. If the flash, why flash? That's not worth it. Just die. Don't expend the. Yeah, you were your Cassidy. What did you think that you were going to do? Get away? No, come on. Have a little bit more discipline than that.
Good play on the side of BBC, able to get this top side because of the prolonged dive on that bot lane. Fully, Aches Ricky, I don't think he realized how much damage he was taking from the tower there. Went back in and took a 5th shot. And just gets absolutely punted into the death realm. That is not what you want to see if you're on the side of Team Q. Meanwhile, we had C-Film roaming and gets a valuable kill. And, in this game, the last person you want getting kills is that Kassadin.
Absolutely. Yeah. Root not feeling too bad about this right now, though. Ooh, nice hook on a Sunny Waffle. Root gonna be happy to pick up a kill. Oh, but the Ignite, not enough. He has to use the ult to commit. Chicken Thuggies arrives just in time to see the bot laner die yet again. And speaking of dying, Taylor Swifty's gonna need to walk on out of there before he does a little bit of dying himself. Yeah, but this Pyke is just absolutely getting work done. You talk about the mobility, it is lethal. You think it's like you think you have a 1v2 against the Kai'Sa? Nope, the Pyke's there.
Yeah, the Pyke is going to be such a problem going throughout this game. You've always going to have some kind of lethal edge walking around the outskirts. I think even if you're C-Fill, you have to pay attention because if you get stunned after ulting from the Pyke dash, it's all over for you. You're going to get nuked immediately by Taylor Swifties and
they want to make something happen here. Yeah, force him to ult.
Got too many ults.
I don't really know that play's ever going to work because as soon as he sees you coming, he's just going back towards his turret. So unless you're wrapping around for him behind, like, I mean, yeah, I guess it's good to get him to back off if you're trying to get pressure towards Herald, but I mean, as a dedicated play, you're not really going to get him. Oh, even as I say that though, the hook does land. Yep, they want to put pressure towards this tower. Here comes Mordekaiser. A little bit of a split play. Save the fishes. Is on the wrong side of this one. It's Ricky. Has the ability to get out of this. Can't just ult the other way. That's the second Sejuani ult that really hasn't done a whole lot. This is kind of a split fight on multiple fronts. They need to figure out who they want to be fighting here. The call is not the same for multiple members here of TTQ. They've kind of botched this fight, and now they're in a bad spot. Taylor Swifties is going to be the first to fall there, and now BBC, they want to start to run this down. It's Ricky to fall, goes to the fish, save the fishes, gets his own kill, fully anointed now. He's on the opposite side of that too. Syphil wants to run him down, trying to get the status going. Yeah, should be able to get underneath the turret, but TTQ massively misplayed there.
Massive misplay, and it turns into a few kills coming over to the side of BBC. If you're BBC, you are loving the outcome of that play. And C-Fill especially, it almost looked like he had the opportunity there to pick up even like 2 or 3 kills. Luckily, they fall into the hands of other BBC members, and so TTQ can have a sigh of relief there. But it's going to transfer immediately over to a Dragon Take, and they're going to prevent Dragon Soul. Or, sorry, the third Soul for the side of TTQ.
Absolutely. So they're going to stop the Dragon stacking, at least for now. Root and company, they're trying to find a way to kind of get this going. Bubble's going to land. They're still getting aggressive, though. They want to make plays. About a 3k gold difference for them right now, and I think they kind of need to temper their aggression a little bit because they're biting off a little bit more they can chew. Remember that point I talked about earlier of being at the point where you want to be at versus the point that you are? Well, it's kind of happening in TTQ right now. They're just constantly making these aggressive plays. If this does not work out for them, then they're really going to be in trouble. They're going to force out the teleport. Fully anointed should be able to at least try and get away. Not going to be able to pop the shield right now. Another teleport committed here. Mordekaiser wants to cut off their avenue of escape. Fully anointed will be the sacrificial lamb. And yeah, that is another play. Them trying to get way too aggressive, but it's going to be turned against them.
100%. TTQ is going to get the mid tower off of it, so they're going to get at least something back. But yeah, just too many misplays coming out from the side of TTQ in rapid succession. And now we're having C-Fill looking for something here. Sox trying to having to dash away.
He's trying to land any kind of hook, but C-Fill doing a great job at zoning both of them and putting the damage to the tower. Inbred going to be able to pick up this bot lane tower as well. He's just been passively picking up a lot of turret gold. He's going to feel really good for that. I mean,
100%. If you're...
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, most of their gold lead is on Mordekaiser. He's 2-0 on 1. He's gotten so much turret gold, the passive gold just from some of the shutdown stuff. Like, he's doing really, really good. He's well ahead of his counterpart.
Well ahead of his counterpart, and, you know, like we said earlier, Mordekaiser just becomes such a big problem towards the late game, and we already see him building into his second item. He's probably going to get... Oh, we got some damage here.
Yep.
C-Fill's got to turn around.
Yep, that's not going to be so good for them. Inbred loser, kind of on the opposite side of this one. Might this be the ability for TTQ to turn this around, save the fishes, forcing it out. Inbred loser pulled over, goes into the death realm. What can he get done? They're trying to position him so they can kill him as soon as he comes out. Manages to get the Pyke, but he's going to immediately be traded. The Malphite going to pick that one up, and now maybe it's their turn to apply a little bit of a pressure. A little bit of over-aggression by BBC gets punished. And TTQ, they can't do a whole lot with it right now.
Yeah, no ultimate on fully anointed Ricky or Taylor Swifties or Root for that matter, so can't really follow up and do too much more damage on this mid lane.
Yeah.
Looks like they're going to back reset and get back on the map. Try to get some more control before we got this dragon spawning in 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
I felt like it was a weird timing for a fight in the mid lane for BBC. Like the pressure that you're applying really isn't enough to knock down that turret. You really don't have a realistic chance of winning a fight underneath that turret either. So it feels weird that you would try that and just not passively wait. Like go back and farm, push your waves, and like utilize the fact that you have free roam across the map, both top and bot. Like you can't necessarily knock down the mid lane turret, but that doesn't mean that you can't look for a place somewhere else. They basically have free access to the jungle because they have turrets to fall back to. So just the timing of that seemed a little bit weird. Like a little bit more discipline and waiting for something to develop, I think would have been more appropriate there.
Yeah, 100%. I think they should have just waited. I think both teams are a little bit gun-ho to try and make something happen in this game. You know, if you're on the side of TTQ and BBC, you both know that losing this series means you go home. So they're playing in a way it seems like it's a little too aggressive. They're trying to take too much before they even have enough information. And we saw it there where they tried to dive on to save the fishes, but he's Mundo. He just absorbs all that damage, and the more you burst him, the more he heals back afterwards using that W.
Yep. A little bit more discipline was going to be called for. Chicken Thuggy going to narrowly avoid being hooked into oblivion as this dragon fight is about to spawn. I say the fight's about to spawn, but the dragon's about to spawn at a minute 25. Rude doing a pretty good job of putting the damage into the Mundo. You start to walk out of this. He's trying to get away, but the dive underneath the turret still pretty vicious.
Phil
manages to knock down Sox Quinn, but it's really not the one they wanted. Gets stunned up underneath the turret. That's their major damage dealer now. They can start to turn this around. Root is still alive. No mid laner for the next 30 seconds. This dragon is spawning at about 50. They'll be able to get a little bit of position off of it. It's a support trade from mid. You're going to be happy with that if you're TTQ. Massive investment by BBC to follow into the turret. Yes, they almost got something, but they didn't really walk away with all that much.
Yeah, and the gold falls into the hands of Root, and that's your main carry here. So you're just praying that there's another misstep like that, and they're able to take soul off of it when it starts to spawn here in about 8 minutes. So I think we're really going to have to wait and see how Root is able to play around Seafill moving forward. They kind of have the recipe that they need. You need to bait him into ulting forward, but you have to basically stop him immediately, CC him somehow so that you can have Root kill him while he's CC'd.
This turret's going down, but the Corki still gets stunned up. They want to knock down that ADC if they possibly can. Forced to pop the barrier, trying to run as far as he can away from the Sejuani, but it's not enough. They're going to be able to turn it back on down to the fully Noited, and Root 10 also able to follow, is following him in that death chamber. The Pike to follow as well. BBC want to turn this into a full best of 3. And this time, the dive underneath the turrets works. Because the thing I wanted to point out that I didn't get the chance to do was, even though that dive underneath the turret and the first one didn't necessarily work out for them, they were able to blow a lot of summoner spells, and immediately re-aggressing them the second time, less than a minute later, gave them the kills that they were looking for the first time because no summoner spells, no ability to get away, and now they're going to get their second dragon.
100%. I think something that wasn't, harped on enough is that, Inbred Loser comes into the fight, immediately just takes out Root, and Root has no real answer to the Rylai's on the side of Mordekaiser. So Mordekaiser able to just run him down, take away your strongest member from the side of TTQ, and now all of a sudden BBC has a massive advantage.
Yeah, it's a almost 4.5k gold lead. They've got command over the map. The Mordekaiser, as you talked about, is in a very, very good state. Is starting to stack the items. Getting to the point now where really it's going to take multiple people to deal with him, and it's become really this monstrous kind of state that TTQ would have been hoping to avoid, but they have inadvertently fed the machine, and the machine is now ready to start killing. It only has one imperative. The machine is very, very angry. Pike continuing to try and get damage onto Sunny Waffle. Sox Clinton just being fairly relentless. They're trying to posture and get anything they can. But again, I want to point out, I think their over aggression is trying to make anything or something happen is really starting to bite them. TTQ, they see the win. They want that series to be over. They want to be able to move on to finals, but they're skipping some of the necessary steps, and they're getting a little too zealous, and it's going to start to kind of hurt them as this game goes on. Raw Root, not where you want to be. Fully Noited, just trying to buy a little bit of time. Should be able to walk out of bottom. Sox Clinton is here. I don't know that you necessarily want to hook the Mundo in. He's really not all that worried about these trades. And just BBC just kind of walking him down.
They're walking him down because Cassidy is... And they're walking him down, and Cassidy is on the bot lane, which is just, so scary if you're on the side of TQ that can happen.
Yeah, this fight's not making sense. So you went forward. You managed to land the Glacial Prison, which is great. But now Sox Clinton gets destroyed. That prison... really didn't last that long enough. There wasn't a whole lot of follow-up, but they're going to continue to go forward. What else can they get? It's a 1-for-1 trade in the end. Sunny, an ADC for support, but again, it just feels like BBC coming out on top.
Yeah, BBC's got these champions that just kind of are big meatballs and are so hard to actually burst down. You've got Seafill, who is just going to get naturally tankier as the game progresses and more dangerous as an assassin.
It's a spicy
and
meatball.
It's right, and it just feels awkward if you're on the side of TTQ because you don't really have too many answers outside of Root to kill these big meaty players.
Inbred, if he was a meatball, it's like someone hit a sriracha and a meatball. Or, you know, like a poblano for no reason. It's just like, oh, here, eat this. And then it's just like, you walk up to him like, hey, wait a minute, why am I on fire? And it's like, oh, right, I'm standing next to the sun. Yeah, and that's what it feels like. Yeah, and that's what Inbred is right now. Like, he just demands so much attention, but then so does Siffle. Like, that's the crazy thing, is that they were winning that fight basically 3v whatever, and they didn't even have Inbred or Siffle there to do that. It was just Save the Fishes, Sunny, and Chicken Thuggy just, you know, being gangster. You have to respect it.
Yeah, I think going against Inbred on this Mordekaiser is kind of like eating some bad Taco Bell. You know, you eat it, and about 5 minutes later you go, I'm dying.
Hey, and, I happen to enjoy me some Taco Bell, all right? You leave my Taco Bell alone. It's the only place you can go eat in this economy where you don't feel like you're getting ripped off. Oh, that's cute. That cue was absolutely cute. Did you see the Malphite walk up there and just try and cue that Mordekaiser? Like, oh, you're so cute. Here, come here. I just want to whack you on the head and cave your skull in with this mace. Just come here. Let me do it real quick.
Casting is devolving.
The casting is devolving. But you have to pay respect to like what they've been able to do. And it's like we're trying to make light of it because we don't want to overly impress on it. But like TTQ have really put themselves in this position. Okay, they're gonna get Waffle again. Who just Valkyrie's out. He's fine for now. Root manages to jump in. Okay, maybe there's something to this. But now Simple has joined the fight. Sox Quentin is the next to go. Fully anointed, all by himself, left to die. Everyone vamoosed, including the ADC. And this is going to be the Garen going down. TTQ yet again punished for their over-aggression. And BBC, this is the way you get back in a series. They're gonna feel really happy about that. Sure, we'll trade this Corki. He's not valuable for us. What is valuable is this Baron.
Yeah, Sox Clinton actually ended up ulting over the wall to try to get the execute and get some gold for himself. But what ended up happening is he ulted onto nothing, and he didn't have any vision. So when he ults over the wall, he doesn't get the reset.
There's no way. There's no way. I thought that got to 85 health, and I thought he was going to ulti over that wall and steal it, and that would have done it. That ultimate damage would have done it. They missed a smite.
Yeah.
I don't think TTQ knows how close that was to being a stolen Baron. They're going to get Inbred loser for it at the end, but that's just going to be a consolation prize. Yeah, a consolation prize to everything they've lost. I think when TTQ goes back to watch this and they see how close that Baron was, they're going to be like, Ricky, how could you possibly not check the Baron and just ulti over?
True. I think what's something to say is something that we should have noticed here is that there wasn't really much vision on the side of TTQ before even that play happened. So it's odd to me that they even went for the play mid in the first place that resulted in the Baron take.
All right. Let's...
Oh no, Seafill ulting onto the back line.
Let's try and see where this fight goes because this is very split. This is the wrong call. I think they're focusing on the wrong person. Save the Fishes is just eating so much damage. Teleport out, fully anointed. If he goes down, that's essentially the Baron fight or the drag fight done. Ziffle. Oh, Sox wasn't able to get him. But it's a bad trade at the end, and now Sunny has all the time in the world to shoot the back line. It's Ricky running for the hills. They're gonna turn and grab this dragon. As soon as the Sejuani was over, the fight was over. The drag contest was over. And yeah, BBC, they're going to move themselves to drag point and look to start to put the pressure in these lanes.
Yeah, we said it earlier. It's coming true. There's just not enough damage dealers on the side of TTQ. They don't have the ability to burn down these tanks other than, Root. And if Root's busy focused on Seafill, diving the backline, well, guess who's not hitting the tanks?
Yeah. Absolutely. No, that's
he's emoting on it.
He's emoting on it. In between turrets, it's like, I am so unconcerned with you and everything that you tried to do. I am going to sit between two turrets. Yeah, Sox just wants to try and get anything done here. Trying to see if he can get Inbred even close to turret to do damage, but BBC, they have such an unassailable lead right now. I mean, there's really not a whole lot that TTQ can do to them until BBC start to misplay, which is still possible, but I think right now, realistically, you're probably looking at a game 3.
You're looking at a game 3 unless we can get Kaisa some magical items that are just going to allow her to actually kill the tanks. after C-Phil has been dead. I think if C-Phil is alive, it makes the TTQ's comp fall apart. You have to play so much differently. You can't play front to back like you want to with fully noited and it's Ricky on these champions. You have to really just wait and sit there and let C-Phil dive you because C-Phil is not going to get caught out as Cassidy. It's just too hard to catch him. He's too slippery.
Well, I mean, that goes back to that early play several minutes ago. I mean, almost the beginning of the game. Well, not beginning of the game, but where you saw Fully Noited try and get away from the Cassidy. Like, this is not a champion that you can easily evade. If you're in a bad spot, if you're mispositioned, you are going to be punished for it. But I do respect the TTQ. They are still trying to do anything and everything they can to win this game. You know, they don't want to passively go after it. I appreciate teams that play to win. But, I mean, just right now, is that everything that they're throwing out at BBC is just not getting the job done. C-Phil is really unthreatened, and yeah, they're just starting to run towards this mid lane. Taylor,
that was like 4 auto attacks, a W, and a Q spam, and C-Phil's health is still above 50%. Yeah. I don't know of any other mid lane assassin.
Bye, Swifty. You were the wrong end of this. You gotta remember, that's not your jungle. Oh, and now this is the full recommit, too, on a bad flight. Yeah, fully anointed. He's going to be the next to fall here, surely. Taylor Swift is going to try and knock him down. It's Ricky, meanwhile, slowly getting burned to death in the furnace. That is absolutely going to be the Sauce Quentin doesn't even get a chance to activate the ult and get out of it. You see the animation, but it doesn't complete. Z-Phil completely unbothered by Root. Oh, does manage to get traded, though, but Root, yeah, that's just a consolation prize, like we said before. And Brett, he's going to be able to walk underneath the turret, even get him. He's going to go to the stasis, but surely he's going to fall here. Managed to trade for it.
Got him.
Yeah, but they're going to, I mean, this is the end of the game. They're going to knock down this inhibitor. They've got the minions they need. The respawn timers are just too long. The closest person coming up is fully anointed. He won't be able to really stop this from going down. They're just going to put the final touches into this game. Yeah, I mean,
they've got fully anointed and Taylor. They've got to play this correctly here.
Yeah, I think they've got it. I think with the damage, Sunny is just going to be able to chunk the inhibitor down. I think as long as the bubble lands, he's just going to continue to damage it. Yeah, this fight, it's over.
Sunny got stunned.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. They're going to put the...
Oh, yeah, Mundo.
Yeah, Mundo. Yeah, Mundo does, in fact, do as he pleases.
You know, it's something that you really can't prep for, is this... is the long game, right? The long haul, the dedication to the game, and just it's a mental battle, right? As much as anything else, and a physical battle too. You've got to be able to play through essentially a 12-hour period non-stop, especially if you're in this losers bracket. I've been there plenty of times in other tournaments, and it's awful. And so to see these teams still battling it out, and it's not just a 2-0 every round, shows that they've got what it takes, and we're just gonna have to see which one of these teams makes it into finals.
Yeah. Speaking of getting into finals, the only way to get there is to win, and the only way to win is to make sure that your opponent cannot get things that they are comfortable with, and try to give yourself as good a draft as possible. And TTQ, they are keeping up the same bands that they have kept up this whole series. These are the champions that they absolutely do not want BBC getting their hands on.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I like the Wukong coming out from the side of TTQ, rather. I think that can be played either by It's Ricky or can be piloted by Fully Noited. It's a nice little flex pick that is actually good into a lot of the top laners that are in the meta right now. BBC showing their hand a little bit with this Ziggs. I wonder if they fully plan on sending that bot side automatically. It's not really a mid laner that you see too often.
No, I mean, I enjoy playing at mid laner, but that's because I'm a degenerate, ARAM Mayhem player. But, I mean, no, I agree. It's fully a champion that you expect to see kind of in the bot side and to have some protection with it just because of the usefulness it gets in a packed lane like that. The Rek'Sai also joining it as well. I'm interested to see where they want to take this draft adaptation because, obviously, you're sitting now kind of a different philosophy. The Ziggs fairly immobile, Rek'Sai very mobile. So a little bit of a dichotomy of things that are going on here. Meanwhile, formally for TTQ, I mean, they're doing a good job of kind of keeping the same aspect there. Like Wukong, very mobile, lots of ways to get around objects, and get in and get out of fights. Ezreal, very, very mobile, a lot of escape tools. So interested to see how they'll continue to adapt to the draft. Big Brook Club, though, I really am now curious, like what their intention is for the rest of that draft.
Yeah, I would like to see what they kind of pick around the Ziggs to make it, you know, whenever you pick a Ziggs bot, it immediately screams that you want to go, or screams rather, that you want to play an AD mid laner. I wonder if they're going to play something like a Jace into this TF.
Galio, of course, would not be a terrible answer to that either, to have a little bit of a Magic Resist front line and also a semi-global.
100%.
But, I mean, the Galio hasn't been a champion that we've seen for a long time now. I think teams just don't necessarily prefer it. They want a little bit more magic damage, a little bit more utility, so not sure where Big Bird Club will go with that. But the Renekton going to join the Rek'Sai. I love that duo, the Rek'Sai-Renekton combo. That is such a difficult combo to play against, especially as a top laner. And, like, in 2v2s, like, there's really not a lot of other 2v2s that beat that.
Yeah, it's very strong, and Renekton in and of himself is one of the strongest blind top laners you can play. It's pretty much good into all matchups. It can mitigate a lot of matchups, and it's got quite a few strong matchups right in the current meta. So I think Big Bird Club's totally fine with taking that in first phase. It makes it so that you can't really ban out other good top laners coming into this phase 2. And now we're just seeing them ban Diana, which is a little questionable. You already see the Rek'Sai, so not really sure what that's about unless you think that they're going to take Diana mid. The Ahri taken out, so there's a lot less safe picks for Big Bird Club to pick. And like I said, I just wonder if they're still going to go for some kind of 80 mid laner. Now that they've shown that they're playing Renekton and Rek'Sai, most likely not. We'll probably see another control mage.
Yeah. For TTQ, they need to have some sort of reliable frontliner right now. Wukong is not going to be enough to do that, so they need to get a pretty reliable support, and they also need to get a dedicated, like, top lane frontliner. That signals to me that Wukong's really not going to go up there. And Seraphine Ziggs, AoE, AP buddies, yeah, that makes sense, and it's going to be great in team fighting as well, but I'd like to see where they're going to get a little bit more reliable AD damage, or if they're going to go AP in the mid lane. Akali, I would like potentially for Big Bird Club. That would give them some interesting avenues there. TTQ, though, what is going to be the response to the Renekton, and what are they going to try and get as a support in that bot side to go along the Ezreal? Yeah, just the Cho'Gath that you talked about earlier.
Yeah, so Cho'Gath is a quick answer into Renekton. I think Renekton can beat Cho'Gath quite handily. When we played it against Baggy Pampers earlier today, that's kind of the way that not Baggy Pampers, into BBC earlier today. Renekton does actually get an advantage through the first few levels. Now, that didn't happen in my situation because I suck and I got first blooded, but you can get an advantage with Renekton on Cho'Gath, but it is a safe pick. It's one that, yeah, the Zillion's good. I like the Zillion as well, especially paired up with the Ezreal. It makes him just so slippery. It's hard to really pin him down and kill him at this point. As Rek'Sai, you're really trying to get those assassinations, but I think if Team Q kind of plays this like stutter step game where they're constantly making fights last longer than they should, Zillion provides a lot of value there, and Twisted Fate able to teleport around the map and really make some effect around the game. We might see Galio here.
Irelia.
Whoever wins this game is going into finals. It's just such a treat. Really appreciate both of these teams trying their hardest to get here, and regardless of what happens, this just looks like it's going to be such a fun game. Both teams electing to play a play style that is a little bit unique. We're just gonna have to wait and see if Team Q plays correctly around the Taylor Swifties stun, or if the lane state for BBC is just going to be too overwhelming.
Yep. Something you said earlier that I wanted to go back to, because I think I absolutely agree with it, though, is the Irelia pick is like, that is a confidence pick. You only choose that champion if you think that you're going to absolutely be able to execute on it, because it's one of those champions, like, if you mess up, you go too far forward, you get caught out, that is a feast or famine champion. And so for Siffle to feel like he's going to be able to do that, that signals a lot towards how he wants to fight this, and yeah, we're already starting to see it.
I'm telling you right now, Seafill, if he gets a few more of those kinds of trades, holy moly!
That's why I like the Zillion.
That's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. Seafill, though, if he's able to get just a few more decent trades on this Irelia, control the wave in a way where he's able to just dive onto the TF for playing too closely to the wave. I always equate good Irelia players to good Yasuo players. You have to be able to weave out of in and out of the wave effectively. Yeah,
absolutely. I will say, like, for Twisted Fate, it's kind of easy just to sort of try and freeze that wave in a turret and just force Irelia to kind of sit there and stare at you. And just, I mean, the way you win this Twisted Fate is having a completely non-engaging lane. It's just like, I am not interacting with you in any way, shape, or form. I want minions, and if you're going to kill me, you're going to have to get out of tower to do it. And yeah, Seathil, that's the kind of thing that you don't want to be doing. Oh, it's Ricky. Almost, listen, flash out. Oh, but they nice enough to do it first. He goes over to instant loser. That's exactly what you wanted for BBC. We talked about high execution. That'll do it.
Yeah, and it's just one of those lanes that you don't want to see go down early. He does have TP, so it's not the end of the world, and he did blow Flash and Ignite. So he's not really going to have kill potential on to It's Ricky for another, 3 minutes or so. So there is some breathing room there, but if you're on the side of TTQ, you do not want these lanes getting behind early. It's going to spell disaster for you come the mid game.
Yeah. I will say the one thing that's going fairly well for them is that, well, at least on the bot side, things are okay. In the mid lane, though, CS defaults are already starting to get built up by Sifl, pushing those waves underneath the turret. As we're going to get the replay of that fight in the top side, as I said. And yeah, so you can see kind of there, I mean, it's Ricky. He's trying to position where he can slowly start to pick up some of those minions, but he's not being super respectful of Inbred. Inbred ticks over to level 3, and that's kind of the go button for him once he wants to go in. The knockup still landing kind of fairly consistently. I'm gonna have to go back to live because Taylor Swifties is dying underneath the turret. Sifl is not gonna get traded, and there it is. You talked about supreme display of confidence, fully anointed. He will be able to trade that one, so at least it is a 1-for-1 there. But yeah, that's the confidence, and that's gonna suck for Taylor Swifties.
I think we're seeing a little bit of a knowledge gap on the side of top side. It's Ricky walked up and immediately got half chunked again. As soon as you see Renekton building up those rage stacks, and once he gets above that 50% threshold, you need to back off. You're going to lose that trade. There's not a single top laner in the game, outside of maybe Shen with a good reflect, that can do anything against that empowered W from Renekton. It does so much damage, and you're going to lose the trade because he can just dash right back out.
Yeah, and I would even argue, like, even Darius on a good day would struggle to kind of tank through what the Renekton could do with full rage. So, I mean, absolutely great point, and I think, like, it's Ricky. He's going to suffer in this lane for a little while. Really, the only thing that's going well for TTQ in his first couple moments. Oh, they're pinging. Fully anointed is here, though. He could just kind of go invisible and look to stack this. Inbred needs to get out of here. He might die. Knockup doesn't land, but they're underneath the tower. There's really not a whole lot that they can do. No level 6s yet, so it's not like Taylor Swifties can really get too involved in here.
Yeah, he's going to rotate.
This will be
or maybe not.
Nah, I think they're just posturing right now. I think they're all recognizing, like, hey, we're getting a little too swifty. We're getting a little too energetic here, and so they're just going to agree to go away. I think it would have been supremely greedy for Inbred Loser and for Save the Fishes to try and go underneath there and try and kill It's Ricky, especially with fully anointed there. I think that's like the one way you start handing back the advantages that you're slowly starting to build. So, and I think 100%. I think you'll see a lot less of that once Taylor Swifties reaches level 6, because then the TF has global ultimate threat.
100%. I think you also might even see more dives once Inbred Loser and Save the Fishes get level 6, because their level 6 combos are super deadly. They do so much damage. I'm just waiting to see if we can actually figure out what Ricky plans on building. He was only able to get the ability haste item there. I'm not really sure what he's going to be able to build that into.
That could be almost anything. Like, he could be like, I want to go damage. He could be, I'm going to go tank. I have no idea what he wants to build with that.
Ult down.
2 Ruby Crystals. Taylor Swifties. Will he have the yellow card? Absolutely not. That's a Conqueror proc. Has the flash. Stuns underneath the turret. Double bomb. Oh no. Sinful. He got way too greedy. Sox Clinton takes it. He would have liked to see it go to the Twist of Fate, but that's what I was talking about. One little misstep, one little overaggression, and it's game over. And yeah, that's going to suck to give that back.
Yeah, it's tough.
No.
You hate to see it.
This is about to get a whole lot worse. He was double bombed. Manages to get it. Stun over. Fully anointed. Going to be picking that one up. Chicken Thuggy might be the next on the menu. TTQ. Yeah, they're going to be able to get something out of this. Oh, double flash to get the stun. What knowledge. Sox knew that it would go. Double kill over to Fully anointed. We talked about not giving it over. TTQ. They're starting to trade back.
Okay, Sox Clinton putting on a bit of a show for us here, showing exactly what this Zilean can do in the hands of someone who knows how to actually pilot the champion. I feel like we're watching frickin' Bjergsen from 2016.
I love Zilean because of the ability to not only land the AoE stuns, but the fact that, like, he can just passively get people in and out of fights, and he's so frustrating to deal with, especially level 6. This is why he was kind of excited with the composition that TTQ put together. Obviously, still a lot of game to go. Anything can happen, but in a late game fight, like with the scaling that TTQ is going to have, and with Zilean later on, is going to be insanely frustrating to try and deal with what the Zilean can do in terms of saving people. You're talking about the ability for, like, the Renekton, the Rek'Sai, and the Irelia to make plays. Well, what if, like, you're trying to go in there and then the play you were making just isn't there anymore because Zilean bailed everybody out?
Yeah, it's really like how I like to refer to it. Oh no.
You hate to see it. That's all you can say. It's just that's
in the
unfortunate.
chat.
That's gonna Sag in chat. Uh-oh. I may be a liar right now. Taylor Swifties, what can he do? Landing the slows. Reaggress back underneath the tower. Doesn't have the ult. Ziffle wants to see what else he can get. That's the ult underneath the tower as well. Teleports out. Eats a bunch of turret shots. Fully noited. He
nice
should be
stun.
able to catch him. Yep, that's going to be the auto. Picking that one up. Meanwhile, Route 16, though, manages to get out of the way of the ultimate, so doesn't drop there. Oh, never mind. Sunny Waffle with the Q. Manages to do it. What's going on here, though? Yeah, everyone's just going to back off.
Great back and forth here. What I was going to say before that play happened mid and BBC took a nice little lead there is that Zilean is kind of like a Soraka that focuses all of the abilities onto one person rather than the entire team. The slow is all dedicated to really mitigating damage on one of your carries. The Resurrect, of course, one of the strongest ultimates in the game, especially when used correctly. I think, Sox Clinton, one of those players that loves to roam around. We're watching him affect mid just now, but just not enough to keep C-Fill and save the fishes from just nuking them and taking those kills.
Yeah, it's still fairly even game state, but it kind of feels like some of the plays are more going towards BBC. And I would absolutely, I agree absolutely. Like, it's one of those things that he is more single target focused. But like, if everything you're doing is going towards one specific person, like BBC kind of wants to do, where they want to find one person and dive them, then it can be effective in negating some of that. But like to your point, like the AOE stuff, like or in terms of helping the team as a group, like it's much harder for Zilean. He can still build stuff. Like the first item he's going to build is Shirelles, which is going to help them get in and out of fights. Rek'Sai, though, kind of looking for something here. He's going to get discovered by Sox Clinton. The question is, who do they turn on? The Zilean going to get pinched there. Yeah, that's not where you want to be.
I don't think they can do this at the... Oh, maybe if they get enough damage down, Ricky might be able to nom him.
Yep, does manage to get the ult off. And then meanwhile in the mid lane, where I was thinking that surely the Zilean was moving towards the wrong spot in the lane, he was going to get pinched. Did, and ended up using the ultimate, so that won't be available for the next couple of minutes. They're pinging down onto these grubs. They don't want to let this go. Route 16 locked in a really interesting battle with Sunny Waffle. Who wins this? Oh, Sunny wasn't able to get far enough away. Yeah, Route should just be winning this. That ultimate's not going to do enough to save him.
Yeah, Root just putting on an absolute show here in the bot lane. Really, all three games, really showing who the stronger AD carries is in this series. And Sunny Waffle obviously has had some great plays throughout the series too. But we're just really seeing just how good Root can be, constantly putting the team on her back and showing us why she knows how to play this Ezreal just as well as any of her other carries.
Yeah. All right, so taking stock of the game right now, it is kind of mixed leads across the boards. I would obviously say that Inbred Loser is probably feeling the best, even though he died just recently, has a significant CS lead over its Ricky. And but it's kind of being traded back and forth. Fully Noited enjoying about 1,000 gold, lead over his counterpart. I will say the Rek'Sai not really getting too much done right now, other than having the assist. That is nice that he's showing up, but one of those champions that really is feast or famine. It kind of likes to get the kills in order to have the gold, a lot of the damage that comes inherently from his kit. And other than that, I mean, it's fairly even across the board. Irelia is still enjoying a small advantage, 2, and 1. And for me, what's going to be important is these next couple dragon fights, especially as the next one's spawning in the next couple seconds, and who's going to try and get priority there.
Yeah, I think that TTQ might have the advantage here if they're able to position Taylor Swifties so that he can actually take advantage and maybe get a pick for them. But with Irelia roaming down, I don't think that this is even contestable at this point unless they get a really nice stun from Sox Clinton.
No. In order for them to have any chance of that Dragon, they have to position really aggressively and get a significant amount of poke, which right now they're clearly not able to do. Taylor Swifties just going to try and clear some wards. They're not letting this go right now, though. Fully Anointed goes invisible. Arcane Mirage. What else can they do? The health bar is not too bad. Flash forward. That's
great red
on
card.
Top of 1, 2. Can he get the second version of it? Is going to get resurrected. That's the Zilean ult that we were talking about. They bought a huge amount of leverage with that. Root going to be able to chase people forward. Kills the Irelia. Oh, Route 16 says, I'll take your high damage composition and match it with my own. Inbred Loser has just arrived a little too late to see what's going on. It's Ricky. Is going to Starly get here. Dash forward. Manages to get on top of Sox Quentin. That's going to be the Ziggs ult. Doesn't land on top of anybody. So, Sunny Waffle might be on the wrong side of this one. Manages to kill the Zillion. Going to go to the ult. Taylor Swifty's next to drop. BBC starting to win the extended team fight. All it took was Inbred Loser to get there. And even as I started to praise TTQ and started to be turned on him, it's Ricky between a rock and a hard place. This Croc wants to get a bite of the Void Monster. And he will be getting that kill. It's a double kill for Inbred Loser, and it's the second dragon going the way of BBC.
Such a back and forth fight there. You know, you called it. The ults coming out from Sox Clinton really did save the engage there and made it so that their initial team fight looked great. They got almost 3 members down to, like, I don't know, maybe 25% health, and just didn't even matter. Inbred Loser comes over the top, ults, and nearly kills their entire team. Oh, might be able to chase him down. No, he's just going to be able to dash away.
Yeah, and very lucky to live there, too. And Siffle, I think, just trying to make the most he can of this champion. Starting to struggle a little bit now, but is definitely doing much better than his counterpart, Taylor Swifties. Has got a long way to go before he's really going to be able to match there. Only has the Rod of Ages complete now. Slowly starting to stack that. Is the next objective that'll be on the map is just going to be this Rift Herald in about 1 minute and 40 seconds. The BBC doing a really good job to put themselves in positions to contest things even when individuals are getting picked, even sometimes when they're losing these fights. That extended team fight where the Renekton showed up, it's almost like you could hear the Jaws team like, oh, they're in trouble now. The Croc's here and he's ready to party.
Exactly, and I think as the longer this game goes, it actually gets way harder for the side of TTQ. The Irelia is eventually, well, should be getting the split. Forgetting the name of the item. It's the split push item, lets you do more damage to towers.
Oh, Hullbreaker.
Hullbreaker. I think Irelia should go Hullbreaker, force Taylor Swifties or It's Ricky to constantly answer what pressure you're pulling onto the side lanes, and it just makes the game a lot harder for them. And, you know, Irelia can die fairly easily when these towers get to be this low.
Oh, he needs to be very careful. That turret does not have a lot of health. That's going to be the ultimate put down. Wasn't able to get the yellow card. Will die to the turret, though, so it's a 1-for-1 trade. A lot invested from both of them. Well, I say a lot invested. Not that much invested for both of them. It's just their lives. But, I mean, honestly, if you're Taylor Swifties, that's a win. I mean, it's a 1-for-1 trade. Yeah, you kind of put yourself in a bad spot and you didn't land the yellow card to maybe extend the fight and live, but you'll be happy just to walk away with a kill over someone that does have more gold, has better itemization right now, and is ultimately being fairly effective. Ooh, Sox Clinton needs to be very careful. Fully noited. He's over. Doesn't get hit by the ult at all. Root's going to be the second one, or Root's going to be the one to pick up that kill. 3, 2, and 1 on the Ezreal. Great response in that mid lane.
But if we know anything about TTQ, they like to have someone immediatly die after they make a good play. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens.
Who's out of position? Who's too far forward in front of the turret?
Exactly.
It's Ricky. Might not be this time though. They might be able to run down Inbred Loser. Flash and the Dominus wanted to not risk at all dying there. I think he should have used one or the other, not both. So yeah, he's going to be down that spell, which makes him a little bit easier to pick up potentially next time. Meanwhile, though, in this top side, Siffle going to grab this top lane turret, pick up that passive gold, and Inbred Loser, he wants to see if he can pick up the Twisted Fate.
He's going to.
Yeah, he's going to die. Oh, see, yeah, really, really good smart call here. They're going to wait for that to time out. Save the Fish is not going to be able to get that ultimate, at least right now. Multiple members have returned here. I almost called him It's Tick. It's Ricky. Just buying a little time. So just a trade of abilities and some damage, but ultimately I think this probably just be the bot lane
Irelia is split pushing, though, this entire time.
Yep. And meanwhile, they're not even going to be able to stop this bot lane turret from going down. The members of BBC are just that much stronger.
Yeah, they don't have the damage. It's something that I called out, before the game started. They just don't have any answers to this this 4 combo. We're watching the game happen exactly like I thought it would. You got Irelia in the side lane. Those 4 in the same lane is so hard to deal with, especially with Ziggs able to take towers.
Sox trying to step up. Is eating biting off a little bit more than he can chew. Remember, it's not your jungle. That Rek'Sai can kind of passively get that health back and also a little bit harder to trade. So, yeah, BBC doing a good job of bullying TTQ out. But no, I mean, I have to give you credit. I mean, it's exactly what you said. That core 4, really, really difficult to deal with for TTQ, and we're starting to see that.
Just matters what next item we see this Irelia get. I want to see the Hull Breaker 1000%. If Irelia gets the Hull Breaker, it makes this game so hard for TTQ. You have to make a core decision as Taylor Swifties if you actually use your ultimate to catch someone and propel yourself into a good team fight, or do you use it simply to continuously stop Irelia from taking too many sideline towers?
Absolutely. Well, again, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. And I think if Sifl, if he's really smart, like, he will start to try and do that. Does have the drill. Not sure. That's not going to build into Hull Breaker yet. But can probably take that as a third item. I think wants to have a little bit more combat power. But, I mean, even the split pushing threat alone, even if Irelia doesn't kill anyone else for the rest of this game, just the ability to knock down towers is a huge deal. TTQ, however, want to try and preempt some of this play. They are spotted on this, so at least BBC kind of know roughly where they're at. The vision's not super great right now. But we'll see what they're able to do with this. They're in a much better spot as far as team fighting. BBC, here comes Sifl. Yeah, and I mean that's how quickly that turned around. TTQ was in a great position.
Just stay top. I don't like Sifl being here.
Yeah.
There's a free lane to grab, and there's only a chance to get picked out. I think.
Oh, here we go. This might be the beginning of the fight. Save the Fishes will be the first one to go down. Arcane Barrage on top of multiple, but that's going to be the Zillion ulti being activated. Floppa fully noited. Sunny Waffle able to kill the top laner for TTQ, and this is just the rest of the fight going down the way that the BBC would have wanted it. Now they're going to make their way towards the dragon, fully noited. Could look to potentially hop over and try and steal this, but ideally this is out of the hands for TTQ. There's really not much they should be able to do here.
100%. I think we're watching this. Yeah, we're watching this this team comp. You know. Do what it does best. You know, Seafill did rotate and ended up being a 5v5, which they ended up winning. That feels good, but I think you just leave Seafill on the sideline.
They don't get to take this Herald, and BBC are coming, and they know that you're doing this, and you need to leave. Yeah, they're gonna call it off. They know it's like, yeah, they were trying to get greedy and see if they could take the Herald in the interim, but they don't have the I mean, you called it. I mean, they don't have the damage to do stuff quickly, and like fully anointed without any help. Like, you're definitely not gonna be able to take that Herald in any sort of time.
Exactly. Yeah, you just don't have a lot of damage on the side of TTQ. You know, if you lock someone down, if you've got gold card going over, you know, fully noited, hits them with the Q so their armor's reduced, and then it's Ricky's there for the ultimate. Yeah, so you've got some damage in that regard. But straight up, just, you know, 5v5 team fight, your damage is not that high, especially not considering what BBC has in the tank.
Absolutely. Yep, and we're starting to see that Core 4 really start to excel. There's so much damage that TTQ have to be aware of, so many different threats that they're having to try to mitigate. And the fact that It's Ricky's just not at a point where he can absorb any or all of that right now. He's getting heavily focused, just getting blown up. And, like, there's no way for him to defensively build across all that damage, because if you build armor, you're going to get absolutely shredded. If you're trying to build magic resist, where you're only building for one person, and for that thing that you're not itemization for, even though I say that, though, Ziffle, not concerned about this teleport at all. This is going to be a 2v3, potentially a 4v3 as this teleport starts to come through. Siffle and Renbred Loser, they're getting countered at least a little bit on paper, but now they're going to potentially put this down on It's Ricky. Who is beating who here as the rest of the members of BBC start to make their way towards this? The ult's going to land on top of him. Bomb from the Ziggs just to help the health bars just a little bit more. Zadenfish is trying to get out. It is 3 quick kills for BBC. Limited because it's a double kill. Oh, let's add 5. Let's add fully noted to Siffle. They're going to absolutely pursue him between 2 turrets. It's like between 2 ferns on where the turrets are just trying to blow you up. They're going to knock down this turret. They're going to try and make egress into this base. They'll be able to, I think, potentially get an inhibitor. The death timers are long enough. BBC, they are running away with this game.
Yeah, they're playing exactly to what their team's strengths are. That 5v5 is just so strong, especially with the threat of Seafill pushing the sidelines. You really never know what you need to do at any given time. And TTQ, they got Sox Clinton caught. That immediately takes off a lot of the team power.
He's going to go into Resurrection, but it's not going to matter. There's just... Oh! Did manage to flash. All right, respect. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would argue that just die there and keep the flash. There's no reason to... I mean, you might need that later. I know this sounds kind of weird, but it's like, if dying there was so close to your base and an opponent like this is not the worst, where you're just going to resurrect, and so maybe just, or at least you'll respawn like in not too much time, so just hold on to the flash, because you might need it later. But I guess I respect the desire to stay alive there and not go over any more gold.
100%. Yeah, I think TTQ or Sox Clinton needed to use his flash. But what we were trying to say earlier is as soon as Sox Clinton goes down and you don't have that ultimate for your team fight power, you lose a lot of stock in that team fight.
Yeah.
Your survivability is basically cut in half. You immediately can have your front line nuked, and there's no response that you have, and so. BBC just playing excellently around their win condition, and I believe they're probably going to transfer this into a Dragon Soul here in a minute 30.
Yeah. It's Siffle just bullying. It's Ricky. Yeah, this might be the end of the Cho'Gath here. He's just trying to delay as long as he possibly can. Meanwhile, though, TTQ, they're trying to take a fight in the mid lane, but it's just really not working for them as I mess with the camera. It's Ricky, dies in the top side, and here comes the Renekton to try and flank on the remaining members of TTQ in that mid lane. The health bars are so low. Oh, manages to get the shutdown, but that's not a whole lot. Slice, dice, Inbred Loser trying to get something. Low health bar. Sunny Waffle going to go on a killing spree. Meanwhile, the Irelia is just destroying every bit of the base. They're going to be able to knock down this top lane tower. He doesn't even have the Hull Breaker. Says, I may not even need it as the remaining members of BBC. They're going to continue to push this wave in. Yeah. I don't know if he's got it.
He's got it. Hull Breaker, second item.
Oh, okay. The Hull Breaker. Oh, I thought you were talking about the tower. I was like, the tower is still up.
That's not, no, sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, Hull Breaker. So get it finished. I didn't think that was what he was going to build into, but I'm glad that I was wrong. And, yeah, I mean, for TTQ right now, you're running out of options. Your damage is not where you need it to be to quickly kill the core 4 of the BBC right now, fast enough to prevent them from killing you. And when it's all 5 alive, like, it's going to be really, really difficult for TTQ to win. The gold advantage is just massive. It's 10.6k at 23 minutes. They have this Dragon Soul that's basically imminent. And, if you're TTQ, like, you don't even know who to focus right now because everybody's a priority. I guess maybe try and get Chicken Thuggy if that'll make you feel better. That's going to be the Shirelia's pop, but they're not going to be going very far after that. Ziggs Bomb on top of everything, and Fully Anointed not even going to be able to get the support on that. Meanwhile, on the backside, Inbred Loser dominating. The Zillion is dead. Fully Anointed surely to follow. Ziffle and Save the Fishes, they want to fight for it, but it's the Irelia that's going to get that one. And this Croc is zoning off 3 full members of the TTQ squad, and they're just going to start to run this down mid. Ultimate lands on top of State of Swifties, has the gold card, momentarily stunned. And BBC, once they've shoved this out, they're going to make their way towards the Dragon. 5 alive for them. They are in complete control of this game. They are not even remotely... Oh, Siffle. Okay, good. I was about to say, good job by Root checking that. Yeah, don't face check that.
Yeah, Root sniffs it out, goes ahead and throws the Q in that bush. Not going to result in her death anytime soon, but it will result in the Dragon Soul for the side of BBC. I think that they have a clear idea of how they want to close out this game. They're not going to give anything over to the side of TTQ. They're playing around their strengths perfectly. I anticipate that they're going to send Irelia here to the side lane. They're sending her top, which is curious. I think they should be sending her bot here, but it's probably just to answer It's Ricky pushing that top lane. But
I know why they're doing it. It's because the Siffle towards that top side, he can turbo push, and then look, the further he gets in there, he's closer to Baron. So there's absolutely no threat. There's no reason for him to go bot side just because he doesn't have teleport. And so if they're gonna make a play for this Baron, just go ahead and knock him down.
I think if you're CFIL, you just keep pushing and you send your team to go take Baron. I mean, there's nothing that TTQ can do. That you're gonna lose something regardless. And we do see Sunny Waffle, okay, he's going to end up going back and running back towards that Baron there.
Yep.
Do they want to fight this?
Well, I think if you're TTQ, you're in a force.
I feel like you have to.
Yeah, you're in a position where you have to do something because right now you're just passively bleeding out of this game. You're trying to find any sort of poke, prolonged team fight, but they're in a really bad spot. They're just trying to get away. Zillion, passively landing damage. Siffle, though, ignoring the majority of this damage. Cyclone pulled out, but it's just to escape. It's just to get the hell out of dodge, but they can't run fast enough, far enough, and get away. It's the resurrection going through. Siffle's going to go unstoppable. This is surely the end for TTQ. It's 5 dead, with the exception of the Cho'Gath. He can only watch as his base is in shambles as the remaining members, all the members of BBC, just run down through the base. The Hull Breaker not even needed. You've got the Ziggs, you've got the damage. And TTQ, it's been nice knowing you, Sayonara. This BBC, they're going to put the final touches on this game. They're going to knock down the turrets. And after a bit of a long run and a bit of a scare in game number 2, they will put the final touches on the series, and they are going to be Momentum's opponent in the grand finals. Hello, everybody. We're going to do a very short interview with the one and the only Inbred Loser, the victorious top laner from the BBC. How are you feeling? It's been a very long day for you guys.
Oh my God, yeah, dude, that best of 3 really took it out of us, man. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I was like, oh, can someone please just 2-0 this? And I was
Please,
like,
bro.
no. Yeah, no, I definitely know how you feel. But how are you guys feeling? How's the mood of the team?
We're feeling pretty good. Definitely the last series that we lost was pretty rough on us for sure, but it was nice to bounce back, have some comfort champs, have some comfort drafts, and it's really been good on the team. A lot of good mental weight off our shoulders for sure.
How are you guys feeling about the grand finals rematch against a team that you guys kind of fell to earlier today?
Oh man, I'm excited. That first series was definitely a tough one, but I think with a couple more games under our belt, the 20 games that we played today, I think the experience will definitely be it'll work in our favor. I think.
Yeah. Walk me through how you guys were feeling that best of 3. It's you kind of lose the first game, you're gonna have to recover on the second game. I mean, when y'all won that second game, I mean, what was the mood like? Like, oh man, we got to play through this third one to kind of get to the. Was there even a hint of like, what if we just lose this and call it? Like, we're tired. Was there any of that?
No, literally not. We've been locked in from this tournament from the start, man. We knew from day one that we were going to be locked in either way, regardless if we go 0-1 into a series or 0-2 into a best of 5. We're pretty much mentally sound. I would say. I think our team is pretty smart about that sort of stuff. They don't really let the quick losses get in our way. I think we've done a pretty good job of that so far.
Anything that you guys learned about momentum in that first series that you're taking into this grand final series?
Ban Zyra for sure. That champion in the jungle is definitely a menace, man. Ector is definitely a nasty guy on that. But really, outside of that, just stick to comfort, stick to what works, and pray to God we don't go to 5 games.
How does it feel, kind of being that focal point around your team? A lot of people looking to you to. I don't know obviously, I don't know who's calling the shots, but it definitely seems like you're being fairly aggressive in shot calling for the team. It seems like definitely you're being active and making plays. How does it feel to kind of have that role in the team?
I mean, that's just top lane, You're typically the island up there. People look to you to either, fend for yourself and do well or, soak up jungle pressure to an extent that helps the rest of the map out. But I'm lucky. I've got a great, team around me. Jungle is fucking crazy. Mid crazy, bot lane crazy. They're really making it a lot easier on me for sure to pick these aggro champions and do well on them. So it's definitely made me look good, but it's definitely not just me.
Sure. For you personally, what's been the hardest part of this whole day-to-day as far as competing on all these games and going to this best of 5 series that might go a full best of 5?
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's gonna be a long night.
Yeah, it sure is, man. Honestly, I'm looking forward to it. Really, the big thing that's been testing us is our champ depth.
Sure.
We definitely in scrims we try to keep a good 5-6 champion spread, but there's definitely a lot of common picks among the teams here in the loading screen. So it's definitely kind of pushed us into a direction of starting to adapt a little more and pick some uncomfortable champs like that. Really, in mid kind of came out of nowhere, but made it work, look good. Just stuff like that, just to keep in the back pocket.
Sure. One final question before you go. Anything you want to say to the people that are watching? Anything you want to say to Momentum before you guys get ready to go into that best of 5?
I mean, shout out the loading screen for keeping a great tournament organized here, man. Really appreciate y'all hosting us, keeping everything super well organized. Production value's been super awesome. Love my team. Guys have been great, and looking forward to kick some momentum ass.
Awesome. All right. Well, best of luck to you. Go ahead and get out of here. Go hang out with your team for the short time you've got before this series starts, and we'll see y'all here in a few.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for casting.
Absolutely.